Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the monastery. Fucked it up already. This is not the monastery. This is the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me is my good brother here in the temple, the the one and only Flame Scion. I will find a nickname for you one of these days. Just give it a few
I
weeks.
am I am the guy that comes here for 5e.
uh, I could go with recovering 5e addict.
Or trying to escape 5e.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those works.
Yep. But we are back once again after delving into the core rules of Nimble, and now leaning into the heroes. So this is where we're getting into the classes proper. We already did races last week. I know officially it's called ancestries, but lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
So the heroes book is the second largest book of the three that we have. Um, The GM's book is going to be the largest, which we'll get into next week. This time around, it's going to be the classes. We kind of hinted at the classes last week, but here we're going to be getting a little more into that. Now, with the upcoming reprint that got crowdfunded, one of the main things that's going to happen with that is splitting off the Heroes book into individual class books. But I have confirmation that aside from that, there's not really going to be any changes. Just instead of one big ass book, you'll have a bunch of zine-sized books.
Has any other TTRPG actually done that?
There have been a few. The FFG Star Wars trilogy comes to mind. There's also the whole playbook thing that Powered by the Apocalypse has done since day one.
Right.
And there, in earlier editions of D&D, there were class books. I distinctly remember having some of them for AD&D. And there were some third-party versions of the same concept for 3rd edition as well. And even in 5th, we've seen people make character sheets that are specifically designed for one class. Which is nice and all, but I think a full-on the big example that always comes to mind is the class pamphlets that were done for the Sorry about that, folks. I'm hoping that I'm not gonna have to deal with a split upload when the thing is done. If that is the case, that is what it is. So when it comes to Nimble, the just as a refresher, we do have a nice little table of contents of the different classes. I kind of wish the PDF was bookmarked, but what can you do? And something that I do enjoy with this, and it's not the first to do this, but each of the class entries has a little sidebar noting the complexity of that class.
Yeah.
And I will note each class has their own subclasses. We will get into that, but we have the Berserker, the Cheat, the Commander, the Hunter, the Mage, the Oathsworn, the Shadowmancer, the Shepherd, the Songweaver, the Stormshifter, the Zephyr, and a few extra subclasses. Something that I do find interesting is there isn't necessarily a fighter equivalent.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And
Th-
I'm not going to miss that because if I'm being honest, the way things like fighter and wizard are designed are something I think should go the way of the dodo. If only because they are generalist design classes in terms of their design. When class design is something that is going to more reward a more specific approach.
Yeah, the way that at first glance the commander works is like really good. And if you just want someone that can beat up people without any much problem, you have the berserker or the barbarian in 5e.
And I think that's also the reason why the features that you see for fighter or wizard are kind of broad, and it relies so much on subclasses to make them interesting.
Yeah,
Because being able to use, especially when you compare, in the case of the wizard, contrast that with the other spellcasting classes that have a distinct identity. You know, the sorcerer has the whole meta magic thing. The warlock has invocations and an auto-adjusting spell, an auto-adjusting spell slot.
yeah.
Uh, the druid has, well, all the shit that druids do, and same thing with clerics, and you get the idea.
Yeah.
And while we do have the mage here for Nimble, if I'm being honest, the based on the way it's described here, I feel like the mage has more in common with a sorcerer than a wizard.
Yeah, and I think that we'll move on more to the way that magic works in this game.
Mm.
Like how more specific the spells can be.
That and not having to deal with an offensively long spell list
Yeah.
with a bunch of spells that nobody's going to use.
But Mildra, what am I supposed to do with my prepared but never used spell of protect from good and evil?
Uh, don't even get me started on those protect spells. But we start off with the Berserker.
Basically, the barbarian.
Hmm. Now, the putting aside the clerk's joke I could make, uh, but I do like that they have a few bullet points on the major highlights of that particular class.
I think those are really good when you're like on the fence of I want to try something new,
Hmm.
and that's the bullet points of what you're gonna have to do or what to expect with that class.
Yeah, but each class is going up to level 20, but what you're getting out of them is going to be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So the key stats for Berserker are Strength and Dexterity. Hit die is 1d12. You start with 20 HP. You have a positive save for Strength and a negative save for Intelligence. Uh, Obviously, no armor. Any strength-based weapon you can use, and your starting gear is a battle axe, some rations, which is just meat, and 50 feet of rope. Uh, So at level 1, the first thing you're getting is Rage. You can do this once per turn as an action. Roll a Fury die, a 1d4, and set it aside. Add it to every strength attack you make. You can have a max of key Fury dice, and they are lost when your Rage ends. So essentially, the max amount of Fury dice you can stack is equal to either Strength or Dex.
Yeah.
They do have a sidebar. Yes, you can rage and gain another Fury die even if you're already raging. If you're already at your max, roll as normal and decide which ones to keep. Your Fury dice are dice when calculating damage for monster armor.
And the typical when the rage ends is if you leave combat, drop to 0 HP, or if you go one round without attacking or raging.
Yep. What's important is one of the things we don't have here, which is is the whole you're fatigued for a while after you're out of rage, which I always thought that was stupid. I understand why it's done, but in the process of that, you end up with a situation where you're going to make people be conservative with when they rage and how much, because they don't want to be dead weight for a few rounds afterwards.
Yeah. And something really neat to note is that you can willingly end your rage without having to use an action. Like, just stop attacking or move somewhere, and that's it.
Yeah.
Unlike 5e, which you need to use a bonus action, I believe.
Mm-hmm. But you also get that all you got. When you're attacked, you can expend one or more Fury dice to reduce the damage taken by Strength plus Dex for each die spent.
Okay, that's really cool. But I think that replaces the fact that normally in 5e, when you're rage, you are resistant to melee damage.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a form of that's a little more tangible than just you take half damage at melee.
Yeah.
Because it's first off, it's when you're attacked, so it's not bottlenecked.
Yeah.
And second off, you already have a reliable loop at level 1. You rage so you can stack up Fury dice.
And besides, it is all damage taken, not just physical damage, which is really neat.
And like I said, you're trying to get stacks of those Fury die, and then spend them for when you're taking hits. That's already a very clear loop from level 1. Level 2, you get Intensifying Fury. If you're raging at the beginning of your turn, roll 1 Fury die for free.
That's really good.
You also get 1 with the Ancients, once per safe rest. When faced with a decision about which direction or course of action to take, you can call upon your ancestors to guide you towards the most dangerous or challenging path. It's fair. At level 3, you get subclass, so you get your Berserker subclass. You also get Bloodlust. Expend 1 or more Fury dice in your turn. Move Dexterity amount spaces per die spent for free.
Okay, so the Fury dice is really becoming a key element here. More or less like the superiority die with the Battle Master in 5e.
Yeah. Oh, I think I told you what superiority die was in the playtest.
Yes.
And why?
Yes, I remember, because you said that it wasn't limited to only the Battle Master. It was able to be used for all melee classes, I think.
All martial classes.
All martial classes. Which is honestly a shame that they didn't get that thing.
Yeah. I guess it was a case of it was too. If I had to hazard a guess, the caster players got pissy again.
When do caster players don't get pissy?
when they're at my table, probably because they don't want to poke the bear. Because I think the last time that happened, the punishment that that player had to go through was that they had to plank for 30 seconds.
Ouch.
And if they couldn't make it 30 seconds, I told them do it again. That was 22 seconds. I said, surprisingly, he never raised a fuss like that again. Now, granted, I ended up sending him a block of wood as a form of taunting. But at at level 4, you get 3 things. Enduring Rage. While you're dying, you rage automatically for free at the beginning of your turn. Have a max of 2 actions instead of 1, and ignore these strength saves to make attacks. This is your
Amazing.
man literally too angry to die.
You have. Oh, that's really neat. Instead of you choosing any of the stats to level up, here you increase your key stat. And
Mm-hmm.
you choose whether strength or dex.
Yeah, and we're not doing that whole thing of shift of moving feats over into a ASI alternative because that was a stupid idea.
Right. And you get one ability from the Savage Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Which we will get to that in a bit. Uh,
Let's see.
uh,
Level
so
5.
yep, at 5, whenever you rage, you get 2 Fury dice instead of 1.
And your secondary stat increases. Oh, hell yeah. This
Yep.
is really good. You weren't kidding when you say that they reduce a lot of the stuff of having dead levels.
Mm-hmm. Yep. At level 6, you get your second Savage Arsenal ability, and your Fury dice are now D6s.
Amazing. At level 7, you get your subclass feature.
Yep. At level 8, you get your third Savage Arsenal and your key stat increase, so Strength or Dex.
At level 9, you up the die for the Fury dice once more. It becomes a D8 and another secondary stat increase.
Yep. At level 10, you get another Savage Arsenal ability. At
Level
11, you get your next subclass feature.
level 12 is the fifth Savage Arsenal ability and another key stat increase.
Yep. At 13, your Fury dice are now D10s, and you get you get your secondary stat increase.
At 14th, you get the sixth Savage Arsenal ability.
Yep. Let's see. At 15th, you get your next subclass feature. At
16 is another Savage Arsenal ability, another key strain, key stat.
Yep. At 17th, you get you bring up the Fury dice to D12s, and you get your secondary stat increase.
At level 18, you are too angry to die, and dropping to 0 HP does not cause your rage to end. Amazing.
At 19, you get a epic boon. We won't be covering epic boons until next week.
Right, because they're on the GM's guide.
And at 20th, you get Boundless Rage. You get +2 to any 2 of your stats. Anytime you roll less than 6 on a Fury die, change it to a 6 instead.
Oh god. This is amazing. Because not only you always get something each time you level up, but it's quite consistent as well.
Yeah. And if there is any kind of number go up effect that you end up getting, it's in addition to something else.
Yeah, that's really good.
So with the Savage Arsenal, I guess you could say Savage Arsenal is its version of
the combat maneuvers.
Yeah. Or I started coming up with the term feats in all but name with a lot of the what I call pool effects in 5e. You know,
We can
where the
just call
feature is,
them fit for die.
yeah, and it looks like what we have here with Nimble is, instead of having feats, you have a doubling down on those pool abilities that are themed towards the class.
Right.
Which indicates to me a stronger understanding, since the reason I said feats in 5e kind of missed the point is the idea with feats was always a form of personalization. And it really
Right.
hamstrings that personalization when you only get 4 opportunities to do it total, and you are gimping yourself in the process of doing that. Because the benefit that you get from feats in 5e, I don't think warrants the very limited amount of opportunities you get.
Right.
Uh, but when it comes to the Savage Arsenal, we have things like Death Blow. When you deal damage from a crit, you can expend Fury Dice, sum the dice up, and deal double that amount of damage.
Holy shit.
Uh, let's see, Deathless Rage. Once per turn, while dying, you can suffer 1 wound to gain 1 action.
Eager for battle, gain advantage on initiative, move 2 times deck space for free on your first turn each encounter.
Uh, that'd be really useful for somebody who wants to just jump from target to target all over the map.
Well, speaking of jumping from target to target, you have Into the Frame, which is an action that you leap up to 2 deck spaces, 2 times your deck's space towards an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you land adjacent to at least 2 enemies, you make attack against one of them for free.
Yep. So that is your get into the fray and clear the room kind of a feature.
That
See,
sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mighty Endurance. You can survive an additional 4 wounds before death. More when an enemy crits, you get 1 Fury die.
Rampage. Once per turn after you land a hit, you may treat your next attack this turn as if you rolled that same amount instead of rolling again. I didn't quite get that.
If you rolled, say, a natural 18,
Yeah.
and you want to do another attack this turn.
Oh yeah, you used that same 18.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I do. It would be amusing if you crit on that first one, you could use this and then crit again.
Yeah, it's like a reliable way to get critical hits.
Or just hits, period.
Yeah.
Then Swift Fury. Whenever you gain 1 or more Fury dice, move up to deck spaces for free, ignoring difficult terrain. Nice. Thunderous Steps. After moving at least 4 spaces while raging, you can deal strength bludgeoning damage to all adjacent creatures where you stop.
Holy damn.
Unstoppable Force. While dying and raging, taking damage causes 1 wound instead of 2, and critical hits inflict 2 wounds instead of 3. Let's see. Whirlwind. Takes 2 actions. Attack all enemies within your melee weapon's reach. So there's the whirlwind attack that ended up annoying me so much in Pathfinder.
I love it. They give you even they give him an AoE attack. That's amazing.
Yep.
And then you have your next.
Mm-hmm.
While raging, you can make a might skill check to demoralize an enemy within reach. DC within reach 12. The DC is their current HP. On a success, they immediately flee the battle. Holy damn.
So Then the subclasses, we have Path of the Mountain Heart, which I'd say is going to be the stubborn one. At level 3, you get Stone's Resilience. Whenever you expend Fury Dice to reduce incoming damage, add the value of the die to the amount reduced. Nice.
Oh, that's really good.
And Mountainous Tenacity. Whenever you expend your hit die to recover HP, for every 10 HP you would recover, you can heal 1 wound instead. And at level 7, you get Unbreakable. Once per encounter while raging, if you would suffer your last wound or other negative condition of your choice, you don't.
You don't.
Then Titan's Fury. After you miss an attack or are crit by an enemy, rage for free. And Mountain's Endurance. While dying, if an attack against you would be a crit, the attack is rerolled instead. When crit abilities such as Titan's Fury still trigger.
Oh, wow. So that means that if the enemy crits, you make it reroll, but you get your free rage from Titan's Fury?
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
Then Path of
We
the
have
Red Mist.
Oh, God. Just the name alone, you turn the people into the red mist.
Mm. Yep.
Let's see. Blood Frenzy. Once per turn while raging. Whenever you crit or kill an enemy, change 1 fury die to the maximum. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Savage Awareness. Advantage on perception checks to notice or track down blood. Blindside 2 while raging. You ignore the blinded condition and can see through red targets and invisibility with that rage within that range.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It could be a very anti-sneak option.
At level 7, you get Unstoppable Brutality. While raging, you may gain 1 wound to reroll any attack or save.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What else we got? Level 11, you get Opportunistic Frenzy. While raging, you can make opportunity attacks without disadvantage, and you may take them whenever an enemy enters your melee weapons reach. Nice.
Mm-hmm. I'll have something to say on that in a minute, and then the level 15 one.
Yeah. Onslaught. While raging, gain +2 speed once per round. You may move for free.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think the comparison between the Berserker here and the 5e Barbarian is there is no comparison.
There really isn't.
The
So you either are impossible to kill because you're resilient, or you're impossible to kill because by the time you reach the Berserker, you're already dead.
Mm-hmm. Though something that I think would be a incredibly offensive build. Imagine a Berserker using a pole weapon, so a pole hammer, a glaive, or a spear.
Oh god, that range.
So anything at range 2 of you is getting its ass kicked. But I think one of the big things to highlight here is the amount of mobility options you have, which kind of makes the Barbarian into a bit of a battering ram. A battering ram that, if someone knows what they're doing, can pinball around the combat arena.
You don't even need to attack with some of the Savage Arsenal options. You just move around and you're already causing damage.
Yep. Oh. But then we have the cheat, which is very much analogous to the rogue. Cloak and dagger, and dagger. but key stats are Dex and Intelligence.
In
1d6
the
hit.
words of HK47, someone only cheats when it is caught in the act. Otherwise, it is viewed as intelligence.
uh, their hit die is 1d6. They start with 10 HP. Positive save Dexterity, negative save Will. Uh, they start with leather armor, can use Dex weapons. And at level 1, they get Sneak Attack. Once per turn, when you crit, deal plus 1d6 damage. Which makes it, if it weren't for how crits work in Nimble, this would be very situational.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that that all you need is to crit, you don't have to worry about flanking. Uh, then Vicious Opportunist. Once per turn, when you hit a distracted target with a melee attack, you may change the primary die roll to whatever you like. Changing it to the max value counts as a crit. See, there's the part where you want to mess around with flanking.
Yeah.
A target is distracted if it's adjacent to or taunted by an ally, or if it cannot see you. At level 2, you get Cheat. You're a well-rounded cheater. Gain the following abilities. Once per round, you can either move or hide for free. Once per day, you can change any skill check to 10 plus intelligence. If you roll less than 10 on initiative, change it to 10 instead. You may gain advantage on skill checks while playing any games, competitions, or placing wagers. If you're caught, though...
Yeah. Okay, the initiative one is interesting. More so because we discussed how initiative worked last time, and it was kind of weird. Because you roll for initiative, but at the same time, like, it is all almost preset.
Oh, yeah. But then at level 3, you get your cheat subclass. Your sneak attack becomes 1d8. You also get Thieves' Cant, so you learn the language of rogues and scoundrels.
Level 4 is the key stat increase between Dex or Int. And underhanded ability, just an underhanded ability, which is basically the pool of abilities that you get for this class.
Yep.
Something that I really like is there was on the Berserkers and also here is that if you do something while during your safe rest, something specifically related to your class, you can change the abilities.
Yep. So respecking is always an option.
Yeah.
Then at level 5, we have Twist the Blade. You can change one of your sneak attack dice to whatever you like.
Holy damn.
And Quick Read. Once per encounter, gain advantage on an assess check. And once per day, gain advantage on an examination check. You also get your secondary stat increase, in this case, Will or Strength.
At level 6, you have your second underhanded ability. And that's not what happened, which is once per safe rest. After a distracted enemy attacks you, you may change the primary die roll to whatever you like. Changing the die to the minimum value counts as a miss. You basically nope the attack.
It'd be really funny to do that against a beholder when they break out one of those save or die spells. Then at level 7, you get your next feature for your subclass. Your sneak attack becomes 2d8.
Nice.
Let's see, at level 8, you get your third underhanded ability and your key stat increase.
At level 9, your sneak attack becomes a 2d10.
Mm-hmm.
and the secondary stat increase.
Mm-hmm. Uh, at level 10, you get your next underhanded ability. At level 11, you get your next subclass. Your sneak attack also becomes 2d12.
Level 12 is the fifth underhanded ability and the next key stat increase.
Mm-hmm. Level 13, you get Twist the Blade. Once per turn, you can use Twist the Blade for free.
Wow.
And at hang on, need to memorize that. You also get your secondary stat increase. At level 14, you get underhanded ability, not your
At
sixth
level
underhanded ability. At
Yeah, at
15,
level 15 it's the subclass feature and the sneak attack becomes a 2d20.
mm-hmm,
Wouldn't that make starting level 15 Twister Blade less useful?
um,
Unless
no,
you feel like an asshole and go like, I want the sneak attack die to be at D100.
uh, I think you changed the result of it,
Oh,
not the die size. So you could still have an assholishness of it by having one of them be a 20.
yes. Okay,
Uh,
that's really cool then.
but at 16, you get your seventh underhanded ability, as well as a boost, as well as a key stat increase. At
Level
17,
17. Oh, damn. 3d20 sneak attack.
mm-hmm, you
And the secondary stat increase.
yep. At 18, you get another underhanded ability. At 19, you get your epic boon. At 20th, you get supreme execution. +1 to any two of your stats. When you attack with a blade, you do not require targets to be distracted to trigger Vicious Opportunist.
Oh, wow.
So it just
So
happens, and combining that with
you
twist
just
the.
force the critical
Mm-hmm.
with that. That's amazing.
Yep. I mean, you're gonna get the most out of it if you're attacking a distracted target, but you
Yeah.
don't. But you still have a way to utilize it even if you're not. With underhanded abilities, we have creative accounting. Steal up to intelligence actions from your next turn. Gain up to intelligence actions now. The next time you would gain actions, subtract the number stolen. You can't do this 2 turns in a row.
So basically, you just haste yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
Yep. Let's see. Exploit weakness. As an action, make a contested intelligence check against an enemy. If you win, you can use Vicious Opportunist against them, even if they are not distracted. This lasts for 1 minute or until you use this ability against another target.
That's amazing.
Uh,
You have fainting attack. If you miss for the second time in a single round, you may change the primary die roll to any result instead. Oh my god.
mhm. uh, then we have how do you get here? 2 actions. Teleport up to 4 spaces away, adjacent to a distracted target, and make a melee attack against them. If you crit, you may teleport again.
I love those quotation marks.
And I'm out of here. When an ally within 4 spaces is crit, you may turn invisible until the end of your next turn, and then move up to half your speed for free.
Oh god.
Uh, and
There's misdirection, which you gain intelligence amount of armor. Whenever you defend, you may have the damage instead.
mm-hmm. Let's see. Then steal tempo. When you land a critical hit for the second time on a turn, your target loses 1 action and you gain 1 action. Which it's going to be stupid. I can see why they did it the second time because it's going to be stupid easy to get crits as a cheat.
Yeah. It seems like the just the base of it has many options to force critical hits to from happening.
Mm-hmm. And then Sunder Armor, Medium. When you crit an enemy with medium armor, sunder their armor. Until the start of your next turn, all melee attacks against the target ignore its armor.
Then you have Thunder Armor Heavy, which requires the previous one and now applies to enemies using heavy armor.
Mm-hmm. Then Trick Shot. When you throw a dagger, it returns back to your hand at the end of your turn. On a hit, it ricochets to another creature within 2 spaces, dealing half as much damage to them.
So basically, you turn your dagger into a boomerang.
Yeah. Or those slasher boomerang weapons from Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
But,
Because I haven't played Phantasy Star in a long time.
mm-hmm. Then we have the subclasses. First, the Tools of the Silent Blade. At level 3, you can get Against All This Commotion. If a creature dies while you sneak attack them, you may turn invisible until you attack again or until the beginning of your next turn. And Leave No Trace. You get advantage on stealth checks when you're at full health. At level 7, you can get Cunning Strike. Twice per encounter, when you land a sneak attack, you may force the target to make a strength save, DC 10 plus intelligence. On a failure, instead of rolling your sneak attack dice, they deal the maximum amount of damage.
What the hell?
If your target saves, regain 1 use.
That is amazing.
At level 11, you get Professional Skulker. Gain a climbing speed and advantage on stealth checks, replaces Leave No Trace.
Oh.
And at level 15, Kill. When you crit an enemy with fewer max HP than you, it dies.
Oh god. That's just the assassin. Just kill people and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you leave.
Yeah. Then the Tools of the Scoundrel. First we have Low Blow. When you sneak attack, you may spend 2 additional actions to incapacitate your target for their next turn on a failed strength save. DC is 10 plus intelligence. Save or fail, they are taunted by you until you drop to 0 HP.
Nice.
And Sweet Talk. You may gain advantage on all influence checks with NPCs you've just met for the first time. This lasts until you fail an influence check with them or until you meet a second time. You have disadvantage on influence checks with them after you use this ability until you get back on their good side. And level 7.
Hell yeah.
Pocket
Pocket
Sand.
sand.
Twice per encounter, you've got to collect more sand. When you defend against a melee attack, blind the attacker until the start of their next turn and force them to re-roll the attack. Blinded creatures attack with disadvantage.
Hold on, I need to send this to someone who will absolutely love this.
Level 11, you get Escape Plan. Once per safe rest, when you would drop to 0 HP or gain a wound, you don't. Instead, you turn invisible for 1 minute or until you attack. And at level 15, Heads I win, Tails you lose. Once per encounter, attacks you make this round don't miss. You crit on 1 less than normally needed, and you gain level temp HP.
Wow. This is really just a big fuck you to just any dice you throw because you just turn the dice into whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I love this.
It definitely lives up to the name The Cheat.
Yeah.
I think the late Eddie Guerrero would be proud of this class. But then we have the Commander, who is very much channeling the Warlord from 4th edition, which I mentioned in the past. There isn't, if you were talking about first party, there isn't really a parallel.
Right.
I know.
It's really a shame, honestly.
Yeah, I know there have been some third party entries. Some that have done a really good job. But the idea with the warlord was always the frontline battlefield commander. Uh, but the the commander is not meant to be just a fighter. They are meant to be a professional soldier, a battlefield commander, all of that kind of thing. Yes,
Yeah,
they're good with weapons, but that's only one part of the equation.
right. The commander is supposed to be like the leader on the battlefield, like not leading in just for combat, but like help the others around you.
Hmm. I like how somebody put it once. A barbarian hits you with his axe. A warlord, or in this case a commander, hits you with his barbarian. So,
Kind of reminds me of I don't know if you played the 40k Owlcat game, the
rogue.
Rotator.
Yeah, I have.
It's literally just Abelard kill this guy.
Hmm. Uh, but commander's key stats are strength and intelligence. As a D10 hit die, it starts with 17 HP. Its saves are its positive save is strength. Its negative save is dexterity. Has mail armor and shields, and all martial weapons for its proficiencies. Starting gear is a hand axe, 4 javelins, and some rusty mail. Um,
Nice.
so at level 1, it gets coordinated strike, so it gets the coordinated strike commander's order. At level 2,
Nice.
it gets 2 more commander's orders and field medic. Roll 1 additional die for any health potion you administer. Whenever you or an ally spends any number of hit die to recover HP, if you spent at least 10 minutes examining their wounds, you can add your examination bonus to the HP recovered.
So basically, any short rest
Mm-hmm.
it would be.
Yep. At level 3, you get your subclass. At level 4, you get fit for any battlefield. So choose a combat tactic. When you roll initiative, gain strength combat dice, each a d6. Once per attack, you can expend a combat die to perform a special maneuver. Combat die are lost when combat ends, so this is basically superiority die.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
get your key stat increase.
mm-hmm. uh, at level 5, you get Master Commander. When you roll initiative, regain 1 spent use of coordinated strike. It is lost if not spent during that encounter. Attacks made from your coordinated strikes also now ignore disadvantage.
Great.
Uh, Combat tactics, your combat dice are now d8s, and you get your secondary stat increase to dexterity or will.
For level 6, you gain an increase on fit for any battlefield. You choose another command ability, or gain 1 max combat die,
Mm-hmm.
and you get your weapon mastery. You may sheath a weapon and draw a different one twice per round for free, and choose a weapon type to specialize in.
I think combat ability is supposed to be combat tactic.
Yeah,
Oh.
it seems like, at least for now,
Mm-hmm.
the commander has to choose whether to specialize on his own damage or if he's going to go around commanding his allies, which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm. See, at level 7, you get your subclass feature. I am noticing that you're getting the subclass features consistently across the classes. We're not doing that. Oh, some of it get it at third, some of it get it right out of the gate kind of thing.
Yeah, it's always at the same level for each one.
Mm-hmm. So at level 8, you get fit for any battlefield. Choose another combat ability or gain +1 max combat dice. Okay, maybe combat tactic is the typo because we've seen combat ability twice now. And key stat increase. You get your key stat increase at level 8 as well. At
Yeah.
level 9, you get Master Commander, so an additional use of coordinated strike per safe rest. Your combat dice are now d10s, and you get your secondary stat increase.
For
At
level
10,
10, you get another increase on fit for any battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
So one combat dice or one combat tactic,
Mm-hmm.
and you choose a second weapon to specialize in, a
Yep.
second weapon type.
Mm-hmm. Uh, at level 11, you get your next subclass feature. At level 12, fit for any battlefield gets another boost, and you get your key stat increase again.
At level 13, you get another use of the coordinated strike. Your combat die becomes a d12, and you get your secondary stat increase.
Mm-hmm. At 14, you have complete mastery of all weapon types.
Nice.
Uh, you gain your next add-on. 15, you gain your next subclass feature. At 16, fit for any battlefield and gets a further boost, and you get a key stat increase. At 17, you get Master Commander grants another use of coordinated strike. Your combat dice are now d20s, and your secondary stat gets its increase.
At level 18, you get unparalleled tactics. The first time each encounter you use coordinated strike, an ally who can heal you also gains one extra action to use in the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
At 19, you get your epic boon, and at 20, you get Captain of Legions. +2 to any two of your stats. The first time each encounter you use coordinated strike, every ally within 12 spaces gains +1 action. This replaces unparalleled tactics.
That is amazing.
And given the way
Okay, here
combat
we go.
encounters work, 12 spaces is pretty much going to mean the whole damn party.
Yeah.
Alright, so...
Oh, here we go. Combat abilities.
Mhm.
They are combat abilities, but like in general, but you
Yeah.
have to choose. They are separated between orders and tactics.
Mm-hmm. So for Commander's Order, the first one is Coordinated Strike, which you're getting right out of the gate. Once per round, as a free action, you and an ally within 6 spaces both immediately make a weapon attack or cast a cantrip for free. You can do this a number of times per safe rest equal to intelligence. And of course, that threshold is going to be going up as you level up. And we have Face Me. It's a reaction after an ally is crit within 12 spaces. Taunt that enemy until you drop to 0 HP.
Okay, there you go. A really good synergy with a cheat in your party.
Mm-hmm.
You force the taunt, and the cheat can use that to trigger their own abilities.
Yep. Then we have Hold the Line. Once per encounter, as a reaction, when an ally drops to 0 HP, command them to continue the fight. Set their HP to 3 times your level. And I can do this all day. Once per encounter, as a reaction, when you would drop to 0 HP, you may expend any number of hit die and set your HP to the sum rolled instead. Do not add your strength.
Wow. I'm really liking this.
Mm-hmm. It's a very I didn't hear no bell kind of move, and then move it. When you roll initiative, you may give yourself and an ally advantage on the roll and +3 speed for 1 round. Which is a very good way to get into early position. Then
Yeah.
reposition, action/reaction on an ally's turn. Command one
Nice.
ally to move up to their speed, or 2 allies up to half their speed for free.
So basically, every commander order is oriented to positioning and helping your allies during battle. That's amazing. Or even yourself.
Yep. And for combat tactics, once per attack, you can expend a combat die to add one of the following effects to your attack.
So basically, combat tactics are your combat maneuvers.
Mm-hmm. So we have Commanding Presence. As an action, shout a command up to 2 words long at an enemy. On a failed will save, so DC 10 plus strength, They must spend their entire next turn obeying it to the best of their ability, provided it is not obviously harmful to themselves. Then they become immune to this effect for 1 day. Uh, I suppose you could use that to force to maneuver them to give yourself some distance. Uh,
Oh, you could make them flee.
mm-hmm. So then
That's really good.
we have heavy strike. When you hit, push a medium creature strength spaces and deal extra damage equal to a roll of your combat die. A small creature is pushed twice as far. Large pushed half as far.
Nice.
Uh, and we have inerrant strike. Reroll a missed attack, add 1 to the primary die, and deal extra damage equal to the roll of your combat die. That was a case of, you missed. Did I?
You didn't.
Yep. Then lunging strike. Gain +1 reach on an attack and deal extra damage equal to 2 times a roll of your combat die.
Oh god, imagine that as well with a pole arm.
Mm-hmm. And sweeping strike. It's 2 actions. Select any contiguous area within your weapon's reach and damage all targets there. This attack does not miss on a 1.
Okay, so basically, for what I saw with stuff like Fit for Any Battlefield, if you want, and due to the fact that you can actually, by doing something to your safe rest, you can change your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose if you want to be specialized in either your own tactics for combat or helping your allies, or just mix them both. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. And just as a reminder, remember that in order to miss, the primary die has to roll a 1.
Yes.
Uh, and given that when it comes to weapon mastery, there's only 3 weapon masteries that you're doing, either that you're going to get at levels 6, 10, and 14. Slashing, your attacks with slashing weapons cannot miss unarmored enemies.
So you just make a short damage.
Mm-hmm. Bludgeoning, when your primary die rolls a 7 or higher with a bludgeoning weapon, ignore heavy armor.
And
And
piercing, your attacks with piercing weapons ignore medium armor.
mm-hmm. I like that it's using the categories because the different damage types of slash, bludgeon, and pierce. They and thank you, Belady, for the. Oh, never mind. Um, it's sometimes when weapon mastery shows up, it's more about a specific weapon type, like swords or axes or spears or whatnot. But here it's using the damage types, which don't get a whole lot of chances to stand out.
Yeah, normally in 5e it's always just all grouped together when they're mentioned, so it's nice to get individual love.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But then we have these subclasses. First, Champion of the Bulwark. So we get Armor Master at level 3. You're proficient with plate armor. And Shield Expert. When wearing a shield, you may defend 2 times each round. The first time each round you block all the damage from an attack, you may make an opportunity attack against the attacker for free.
Great.
At level 7, you get Juggernaut, bitch. When you use Coordinated Strike, you deal extra damage equal to your armor, and you can add 1 to your primary die. I do like the idea of using armor as a weapon. I mean, if you're going to be covered in metal like that, you may as well.
Yeah, or be like I think it was Dark Souls 3 that you can dual wield shields
Hmm.
and you can put both of them in front of you so you look like I think it was a pair of shields that looked like a double door.
Hmm.
So you just stand back there and when someone comes close, you just hit the fuck out of them.
Yep. But at level 11, you get Taunting Strike. Once per turn, you may taunt a creature you hit until the end of their next turn. And at 15, you get Shield Wall. Allies within 2 spaces gain all the benefits of the shield you have equipped.
Oh wow. That's amazing. Then you have Champion of the Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
At level 3, you get Advance once per round. After you move toward an enemy, gain advantage on the first melee attack you make against it. When you use your coordinated strike, you and all your allies within 12 spaces can first move up to half their speed for free. Oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yep. Then at 7, we have Experienced Commander. Your coordinated strike may target one additional ally, gain one additional use of coordinated strike. Uh,
At level 11, you get Survey the Battlefield. When you roll initiative, regain one use of coordinated strike plus one maximum combat dice.
mm-hmm. And as one, attacks made with your coordinated strike also grant advantage and ignore all disadvantage. Your chosen allies gain one additional action to use on their next turn. So,
Basically, you're a tank, or you make your allies do stuff in your own turn.
mhm. This is carrying in on the tradition of the team is the weapon.
Yes.
So it definitely fulfills the frontline commander approach. Then we have the hunter. Uh, the hunt. I've mentioned before the ranger is the second most cursed class in D&D's history.
Second to which?
The scion,
Oh,
which is not the scion is not only cursed but also 7 shades of bullshit over the years, including having its own separate combat system all to itself. Yeah, that didn't last for very painfully obvious reasons. But for here we have the hunter, which the idea of doing the ranger is there's always going to be a romanticism to that people will want to do. I have said instead of trying to draw from Legolas for rangers, draw from Rambo, specifically First Blood Rambo. Uh, and incidentally, I love the art that we've gotten so far in the classes
it
here.
is amazing.
Yep. But the hunter's key stats are dexterity and will. Hit die is 1d8, has 13 HP. Its positive and negative saves are dexterity and intelligence. Has leather armor, uses dex weapons. And at level 1, it gets Hunter's Mark. As an action, a creature you can see is marked as your quarry for 1 day, or until you mark another creature. It can't be hidden from you, and your attacks against it gain your choice of advantage or plus level in damage. You have to choose before each attack.
Okay, that's amazing.
You also get Forager. You gain advantage on skill checks to find food and water in the wild. So already, I think we're off to a good start. At level 2, you get Thrill of the Hunt. Choose 2
I
Thrill of
like
the Hunt
Hunter's
abilities.
Mark because Hunter's Mark is like what if favorite enemy was actually useful?
Yeah. Uh, I've seen some hacks that try and make marking an enemy a spell, which I don't know. I don't understand why you'd need to do that.
Why? Yeah.
Uh, I th- I think here we're not doing the whole quasi spell casting with hunters, so we're avoiding that problem as well. Is the problem when you have hunters be quasi casters is what can they do casting wise that a druid can't?
Right.
Uh, but with Thrill of the Hunt, you gain a charge to use the abilities during the encounter whenever your quarry dies, or you hit your quarry in melee or crit your quarry at range. Interesting. You also get Roll and Strike. As an action, if you have no Thrill of the Hunt charges, move up to your speed toward your quarry. If you end adjacent to them, make a melee attack against them for free. And at third level, you start getting your subclass. You also get Tracker's Intuition. You can discern the events of a past encounter by studying tracks and other subtle environmental clues, accurately determine the kind and amount of creatures, their direction, key actions, and passage of time. Which, yeah, that fits a hunter.
Yeah.
At fourth level, you get a third Thrill of the Hunt ability. You also get your key stat increase, dexterity or will, and you get Explorer of the Wilds. So you get +2 speed, and you get a climbing speed.
Nice.
Uh,
At level 5, you get Hunter's Resolve. Whenever you have no three of the hunt charges, gain Hunter's Resolve until the end of your turn.
mhm,
Treat all creatures as your quarry for the purposes of movement and melee attacks. Okay, that's really good.
mhm,
You get Final Takedown, which is an action. Spend one third of the hunt charge to make a melee attack against your bloodied quarry. As we discussed last time, bloodied is one of the status effects.
mhm.
Turn it into a crit and double the damage of your hunter's mark. If they survive, they crit you back. Oh wow. It's a really good risk and reward strategy.
Mhm.
And you get your secondary stat increase.
Yep. And just to reference, bloodied is a status effect. It's what you are bloodied if you're at half HP or less, which is how it was in fourth. I think I brought that up last week. Uh,
I think that's yeah. I think that is it makes you really try to go for that final takedown because
mhm.
the risk is the risk is strong for the crit, but you more than sure can pull it off.
Oh yeah. Now,
What else we got?
when it comes to uh, when it comes to sixth level, we get versatile bowmaster. Whenever you attack with a longbow, you may roll 2d4 instead of 1d8, or with a crossbow, 2d8 instead of 4d4. Uh,
Was that a bit redundant? Because I think that
Remember, getting max on a die crits.
yeah, but I thought that was on there was something related to that on the core rules about you determine how much you want your dice to be.
Um, there wasn't a,
Let me.
that was. I think you're thinking of what the cheat could do, where they could just mess
No,
around with
no.
the result.
I think that for weapons in the core rules, you can change if you want the dice as long as the maximum remains the same. Like 1d8 can be 2d4 and stuff like that.
Uh,
I'm not
I think
sure
that
if.
was for customizing weapons.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Here it is. Yeah, it's just for custom weapons.
Hmm. So I think that was for if you wanted to homebrew a specific kind of weapon,
Yeah,
just as a reflavor. So like I can see what it's trying to do, what it is trying to do here. Uh, but at level 7, you get your next subclass feature. At level 8, you get an additional Thrill of the Hunt ability. You also get your key stat increase.
right.
At level 9, you get No Escape. Whenever you see one or more allies make an opportunity attack, you can also make a ranged opportunity attack against the same target.
Great.
Uh, you also get your secondary stat increase. At
At level 10, you get Veteran Stalker. You gain a Thrill of the Hunt charge whenever are a, you are first blooded in an encounter, and for every wound you gain. So basically, you get rewarded for getting beat up,
mhm.
and you get Keen-Eyed Steady Hand. You can add your will to your ranged weapon damage.
Yep. Let's see. Then at level 11, you get your next subclass feature. At level 12, you get Thrill of the Hunt. You choose another Thrill of the Hunt ability and get your key stat increase. At level 13, you get Keen Sight, so your advantage on perception checks, and a secondary stat increase. At level 14, you get another Thrill of the Hunt ability. At level 15, you get your next subclass feature. At level
At level
6,
16,
yep.
you get your key stat increase. I
Hmm.
think this is so far the only time in this manual that one level is just a stat increase.
Mm-hmm. At at 17, you get Peerless Hunter. You can defend against your quarry for free. Uh, you also get your secondary stat increase. At level 18, you get Wild Endurance. You gain one Thrill of the Hunt charge at the start of your turns. At 19, you get your Epic Boon. And at 20th, you get Nemesis, plus 1 to any 2 of your stats. Your Hunter's Mark can target any number of creatures simultaneously.
Oh wow, that is amazing.
uh, Now, with Thrill of the Hunt, unless otherwise noted, each Thrill of the Hunt ability costs 1 charge to use and cannot miss. Abilities that spend charges cannot generate new ones. Unused charges are lost when the combat ends. So we have Adling Arrow. As an action, attack with a ranged weapon. The next attack the target makes must be against the closest other creature chosen at random. Come Get Some. Its action, attack a target. It is taunted by you until the end of your next turn. So Decoy, when you defend, the attack misses instead, and you can move up to half your speed away, where you really were all along. And Fleet Feet, move up to your speed for free, ignoring difficult terrain. Grease Trap, once per encounter as a reaction when an enemy moves adjacent to you or an ally within 6 spaces. Target falls prone, is vulnerable to the next fire damage it takes, and is treated as if it is smoldering. Ouch.
Yeah.
And Hail of Arrows, half range, 2 actions, shoot all creatures within a 3x3 area. Their speed is halved until the end of their next turn. So suppressive fire.
Yeah.
Heavy Shot, half range action. Attack with a ranged weapon and push your target. 4 spaces for a small creature, 2 for a medium, 1 for a large. And Incendiary Shot, half range action. Attack with a ranged weapon, add will d8 fire damage. So there's something to combo with Grease Trap. No. Multi-shot,
There's
half
shot.
range.
Yeah.
As an action, attack your quarry with a ranged weapon and load an extra projectile. Select a second target within 2 spaces of them to take the same amount of damage.
Wow.
So it's effectively chain damage.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Then pinning shot. Spend 3 actions shooting your quarry. They are restrained until they can escape. The DC is 10 plus will. Then snare trap. Once per encounter, as a reaction, when an enemy moves adjacent to you or an ally within 6 spaces, move them back 1 space. They are restrained until they can escape. DC's 10 plus will. And hello, Toku Tabletop. Welcome to the party as we're going through the classes for Nimble.
I love it because everyone is equally kick-ass so far.
Let's see. Sharpshooter. Not to be... No disrespect to Bret Hart. As an action, if you have not moved this turn and your quarry is 4 or more spaces away, attack them for double damage.
Vital shot,
Mm-hmm.
which is half range, and attack your hampered quarry, another status effect, with a ranged weapon, ignoring their armor or doubling your hunter's mark damage bonus if they have none. Wow. I'm loving it because so far you're seeing a lot of synergy between the classes.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you or gives you the tools to help your players go for that cooperation when they're fighting.
Yep. Then Wild Instinct. Once per round, costs 0 charges if you have none. Assess for free with advantage. Which makes sense. Then we have the subclasses. First, the Keeper of the Shadow Path. At level 3, you get Ambusher. When you roll initiative, you can use Hunter's Mark for free. Gain advantage on the first attack you make each encounter. Skilled Tracker. You have advantage on skill checks to track creatures. And Skilled Navigator. You cannot become lost by non-magical means. At level 7, you get Primal Predator. Once per encounter, your weapon attacks ignore cover and armor this turn. At level 11, you get Pack Hunter. Whenever you mark a creature, you can also mark another creature within 6 spaces of them for free. And at level 15, you get Apex Predator. Not to be confused with Randy Orton. I'm making a lot of wrestling jokes tonight. You may use your Primal Predator ability twice per encounter. Gain 1 Thrill of the Hunt charge when you roll initiative. So this is Shadow Path is definitely the sniper route. And Keeper of the Wild Heart, on the other hand, you first get Impressive Form. Get plus 5 max HP. Your hit dice are D10s. And I have the high ground. Really? We're doing that? When you roll initiative or gain 1 or more Thrill of the Hunt charges, move up to half your speed for free, ignoring difficult terrain.
Well, we also had the opposite. I had the high ground last time, which is basically you fell from a great height and you suffer damage.
Yep. At level 7, you get Resourceful Herbalist. Whenever you safe rest in a location where plants or fungi can grow, you can spend a day collecting healing herbs to craft a number of healing salves equal to your will. Of course, you get Healing Salve. As an action, you can heal yourself or an adjacent creature will D6 HP. Only you or another experienced herbalist may administer these, and they expire whenever you safe rest. And then at level 11, you get, ha, I'm over here. Once per safe rest, if an attack would cause you to drop to 0 HP, you instead move up to your speed away and take no damage. I do like that a lot of the classes we've seen have some way to do some sort of perfect dodge.
Yeah, or especially avoid death.
Mm-hmm. At level 15, you have Unparalleled Survivalist. Gain plus will and armor. When you attack with a ranged weapon, you may first move half your speed for free. So, to answer the question of do we have a case of the ranger sucking with the hunter? No.
No. Something I really noticed so far is
Mm-hmm.
that each class is having or has their own way to heal themselves or heal someone else,
Mm-hmm. Which,
which I really appreciate because you're not gonna have a player that is purely and solely dedicating on avoid making everyone avoiding death.
mm-hmm. The heal bot.
Yes.
But then we have the mage. We won't be covering the spell list because we covered those last week.
Yes.
But the vibe I get for the mage is not so much the wizard, but the sorcerer. Uh, Especially given it's talking about using chaos. But the key stats are intelligence and will. The hit die is 1d6, starting HP is 10. Its positive save is intelligence, its negative save is strength. Has cloth armor, can use blades, staves, and wands. Uh, I like that they note that it has soap as part of its starting
So,
gear. But
oh god.
at level 1, you get elemental spellcasting. You know fire, ice, and lightning cantrips. At level 2, you get mana and unlock tier 1 spells. You unlock tier 1 fire, ice, and lightning spells and gain a mana pool to cast these spells. This mana pool's maximum is always intelligence times 3 plus level and recharges on a safe rest. You also get talented researcher, gain advantage on arcana and lore checks when you have access to a large amount of books and time to study them.
Nice.
Uh, at level 3, you get your mage subclass. You also get elemental mastery. You learn the utility spells from one spell school you know.
So basically, up to this point, it's just the elemental ones: fire,
Mm-hmm.
ice, or lightning.
Yep. Uh, at level 4, you get Spell Shaper. You gain the ability to enhance your spells with powerful effects by spending additional mana. Choose 2 Spell Shaper abilities. So this is your meta magic. Uh, you also get Tier 2 spells. You can now cast Tier 2 spells and upcast spells at Tier 2.
And you get your key stat increase, which
Mm-hmm.
is either intelligence or will.
Yep. At level 5, you get Elemental Surge. A surge of adrenaline, and your attunement to the elements grants you additional power as combat begins. When you roll initiative, you regain will in mana. This expires at the end of combat if unused. Nice. You get your secondary stat increase, and you get upgraded cantrips.
At level 6, you unlock tier 3 spells.
Mm-hmm.
You cast tier 3 spells and upcast them up to that point. And you improve your elemental mastery. So you can learn the utility spells from a second spell school you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And when it comes to utility spells, it's important to remember that it means an additional 3 limited use spells.
Remember, don't let anything stop you from being the guy reaching the battlefield in a giant floating disc.
So let's see. So
Level 7.
yep, 7. You get your next subclass feature. At level 8, you can now do tier 4 spells and upcast at tier 4. You also get your key stat increase. At level
At level
9,
9, you get your Spell Shaper, which is just meta magic,
yep.
and secondary stats increase.
Mhm. At 10, you get your Elemental Surge, gives you will plus 1d4 mana. You also get your tier 5 spells and can upcast to tier 5. And your cantrips go up. And
Level 11 is your subclass
mhm,
feature.
yep. At level 12, you get your tier 6 spells and you can upcast to tier 6. You get your key stat increase as well. At level 13, you get initial spell shaper ability, and you get your secondary stat increase. At level 14, you get your tier 7 spells and can upcast to tier 7. You also get elements. You also get a third school's utility spells. So by this point, you'll have the utility spells from all 3 schools you know. At 15, you get your next subclass feature, and your cantrips grow furthermore. Remember that with cantrips, the rule was they get upgraded every 5 levels.
Yeah.
At 16, you get your tier 8 spells and can upcast up to tier 8. You also get your key stat increase. At level 17, Elemental Surge now regains will plus 2d4 mana. You also get your secondary stat increase. At 18, you get your tier 9 spells and can upcast to tier 9. At 19, you get your epic boon. And at 20, you get Archmage, plus 1 to any 2 stats. The first tiered spell you cast each encounter costs 1 action less and 5 fewer mana. And your cantrips grow stronger once again. So, like I said, this feels far more sorcerer than wizard.
Yeah.
When it comes to the spell shaper, you can use it once per turn. So we have dimensional compression, one or more mana, plus 4 range to a spell for each additional mana spent. Echo casting, 2 times mana, minimum 1. Whenever you cast a tiered single target spell, you may cast a copy of that spell on a second target for free.
Nice.
Then elemental destruction, 1 or more mana. After you hit with a spell, you may spend 1 or more mana up to your will to reroll 1 die per mana spent. Then elemental transmutation costs 1 mana. Change the damage type of a spell to fire, ice, lightning, necrotic, or radiant. Oh, that could lead to some fun results.
Yeah.
Casting an
Especially
ice
the
spell that sets people on
way,
fire.
and especially the way some of the elemental spells could interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to see setting someone on fire by tossing ice at them.
Right, have you ever seen somebody touch dry ice?
Yeah. Good point.
An extra dimensional vision costs 2 mana. You may ignore the line of sight requirement for a spell. Your spell will phase through barriers and obstacles to reach a target you know within range. That could be a nasty surprise. Then Methodical Spellweaver, minus 2 mana. Spend 1 additional action to reduce the mana cost of a spell by 2.
A minimum of 1.
Mm-hmm.
It has to remain a minimum of 1. Yeah.
Yep. So, Precise Casting, 1 plus mana. Choose 1 creature per mana spent to be unaffected by a spell you cast. So
that's how you exclude people from your AoE.
Mm-hmm. And stretch time, 2 mana, reduce the action cost of a spell by 1, minimum 1. Now the control table, we'll get to that when we cover the subclasses. So we
I'm
have
liking it.
Invoker of Control which at level 3 grants Force of Will. Good card game, by the way. Once per round, on your turn, you may demand control. Choose one option from the control table you haven't chosen yet. Resets when you roll initiative or when you have chosen all options once. And Deny Fate. Whenever you miss with a spell or an effect you cause is saved against, you must demand control. And at level 7, at any cost, learn 1 cantrip and 1 tiered spell from the Necrotic School. And Nullify. Once per encounter, ignore all disadvantage and other negative effects on your next action. This turn, then demand control. At level 11, you get Steel Will. Once per safe rest, whenever you would fail a save, you may succeed instead. Whenever you roll a 1 on an Elemental Surge die, you may re-roll it once. And at 15, Supreme Control. Whenever you demand control, you may choose to trigger the selected option twice. You may demand control as a reaction. And then we have the Invoker of Chaos. So at level 3, you get Force of Chaos. Whenever you cast a spell, you can choose to spend 1 less mana. Whenever you do this, and whenever you crit, invoke a Chaos rule on the Chaos table. Where's the Chaos table? It's a secret for the GM only. Suffice to say, rolling a 1 is really bad, but rolling a 20 is awesome. But if you're sure you want to spoil it, you can check back inside the cover of the GM's guide. Let Chaos reign.
So basically, it's your wild magic search.
Mm-hmm. But I do like that that if they're just looking at this booklet, they have no idea what.
Yeah.
But level 7, Tempest Mage. You learn 1 cantrip and 1 tiered spell from the Wind School. You also get Chaos Slash. Once per encounter, as a reaction, when an enemy moves adjacent to you, they are pushed back 2 spaces, and on a failed will save, they are knocked prone as well. Invoke Chaos. At level 11, Thrive in Chaos. Whenever you invoke Chaos, you may roll twice and cause both effects. Once per safe rest, you may choose which roll to use instead. And at level 15, Master of Chaos. Whenever you invoke Chaos, roll with advantage. And when it comes to the control table, so you can stitch the fraying edges of magic for your own benefit for a time. So we have I Insist. Cast a cantrip for free, ignoring all disadvantage. It cannot miss. Elemental Affliction. A creature of your choice within 12 spaces gains the charged, smoldering, or slowed condition. No. Choose a creature. It cannot harm a creature of your choice during its next turn. And Lose Control. Do all of the above, but the GM chooses each time. I do like that approach there. It means that if you choose Invoker of Control, you have some... You when doing the control table, no matter what, eventually you will have to pick Lose Control.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes with that whole... You can exert some control over magic, but eventually the backlash is going to come. Which is a nice way to have a spin on wild magic, I think. So
Yeah, it seems like a less dangerous spin on wild magic, but you have reduced amount of choices, and at some point the GM will take control of it. And now I'm really curious about the chaos table.
Yeah, we'll get to that next week. But then we
I'll try
have
not to spoil myself
yeah.
because I want to be surprised the moment I see it.
Mhm. Then we have the Oathsworn, which is very much the paladin. Uh, as if the art didn't give that away.
Yeah,
But key stats are strength and will. Hit die is D10. Starting HP is 17. Positive save is strength. Negative save is dexterity. Can use all armor. Can use strength weapons. Uh, Interesting that they have manacles as part of their starting gear. So a Justicar maybe. Hmm. At level
possibly.
at level 1, you get Radiant Judgment. Whenever an enemy attacks you, if you have no judgment dice, roll your judgment dice 2d6. On your next melee attack this encounter, if you hit, deal that much additional radiant damage. The dice are expended whether you hit or miss.
Divine Smite.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Then Lay on Hands. Gain a magical pool of healing power. This pool's maximum is always equal to 5 times your level and recharges on a safe rest. As an action, you can touch a target and spend any amount of remaining healing power to restore that many HP. So a straightforward Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
Then at level 2, you get Mana and Radiant spellcasting. You know Radiant cantrips, Tier 1 Radiant spells, and gain a mana pool equal to your will plus your level and recharges on a safe rest. You also get Zealot. Whenever you attack with a melee weapon, you may spend mana up to your highest unlocked spell tier and choose 1 for each mana spent. Condemning Strike, deal plus 5 radiant damage, or Blessed Aim, decrease your target's armor by 1 step for this attack. I wonder if this is where we really get the Smite. Then Paragon of Virtue. You have an advantage on influence checks to convince someone when you are forthrightly telling the truth. Disadvantage when misleading. Yeah, that strikes. Oh.
Yeah.
But at level 3, you get your subclass. You commit yourself to an oath. Your judgment dice are now D8s, and you learn 1 sacred decree. At level 4, you get My Life for My Friends. You can interpose for free. You get your tier 2 spells and your key stat increase. At level 5, your judgment dice are now D10s. Your cantrips get stronger, and you get your secondary stat increase. At level 6, you get your tier 3 spells and another sacred decree. At level 7, you get your next subclass feature. And Master of Radiance, choose 1 radiant utility spell. At level 8, you get your tier 4 spells and of course can upcast to tier 4. Your judgment dice are now D12s, and you get your key stat increase. At level 9, you get your next Sacred Decree and your secondary stat increase. At level 10, you get your tier 5 spells. Your cantrips get stronger, and your Radiant Judgment dice are now D20s. At level 11, you get your next subclass feature and a second Radiant Utility spell.
Nice.
At level 12, you get another Sacred Decree and your key stat increase. At level 13, you get your tier 6 spells and a secondary stat increase. At level 14, you get a 5th Sacred Decree, and whenever you roll Judgment dice, roll 1 more. This would mean that your Judgment dice are now a 3d20 roll.
Yeah.
At level 15, you get your next subclass and your cantrips upgrade. At 16, you get another Sacred Decree and your key stat increase. At 17, you get your tier 7 spells and your secondary stat increase. At 18, you get Unending Judgment. while you have no judgment dice, gain +5 damage to melee attacks. And at 19, you get your epic boon, and at 20, you get Glorious Paragon, +1 to any 2 of your stats, and you can defend for free whenever you interpose.
Nice. So you're not just taking damage; you take reduced damage, or
Mm-hmm.
just no damage at all.
Yep. And the Sacred Decrees. So we have Blinding Aura. Once per safe rest, as an action, enemies in your aura are blinded until the end of their next turn. We have Courage. Once per encounter, when you or an ally in your aura would drop to 0 HP, set their HP to 1 instead. Let me check something. What is the range when it comes to...
An aura? Yeah, I was about to say, because I don't think we saw it yet.
Unless it was in the core rules and I just skipped it. So
Let me check real quick. This is the reason why word search has been very useful.
I don't see...
No, it might be... Okay, this is very weird. Let's check the GM guide just in case, but it would be weird for it to be...
Oh. I don't see it in the...
It's not in any book.
Yeah, that is odd. And I'm trying to see if there's...
My guess would be, like, it's not anywhere, but my guess is the aura could be all adjacent spaces to you.
I suppose. Though that is a significant
Omission, yes.
Because let me... I thought it might be in the glossary or something, but no.
No.
And it's not in things like measuring spaces. So that is a significant oversight.
Yeah, especially taking in mind that all of the most of the sacred decrees might rely on aura. And for what I saw, just trying to search it on the master guide, it also applies to some enemies.
Yeah, though I think that's something that should be looked into.
Yeah.
But and I'll probably end up sending a few messages after the show. And anyway, see, we have Courage. Once per encounter, when you or an ally in your aura would drop to 0 HP, set their HP to 1 instead. Explosive Judgment. Once per encounter, costs 2 actions. You expend your judgment dice, deal that much radiant damage to all enemies in your aura. Then Improved Aura, +2 reach for said aura. Radiant Aura, as an action, and any single harmful condition or effect on yourself or another willing creature within your aura. You may use this ability will times per safe rest. Then Reliable Justice. Whenever you roll judgment dice, roll with advantage. Roll 1 extra and drop the lowest.
Nice.
And Shining Mandate. The first time each round you are attacked while you already have judgment dice, select an ally within your aura to roll 1 and apply it to their next attack. You have advantage on skill checks to see through illusions. So nice little sharing of the fun when it comes to judgment. Then
Yeah.
Stand Fast, friends. Whenever you roll initiative, grant allies temp HP equal to your strength plus will. You and your allies within your aura have advantage against fear and effects that would move or knock prone. Then Unstoppable Protector. Gain +1 speed. You may interpose even if you are restrained, stunned, or otherwise incapacitated. If you interpose for a non-combatant NPC, you may interpose again this round.
Nice.
And Well Armored. Whenever you interpose, gain temp HP equal to your strength.
Oh, here it is. It's on the subclasses. For the Oath of Vengeance, you have the Aura of Zeal, and it is an aura with a reach of 4. And it seems like that is the aura that is about all the degrees.
Okay. So it was just a case of throwing off because of the order.
Right.
So
because at level 3, the Oath of Vengeance gets the Aura of Zeal, and the Oath of Refuge gets the Aura of Refuge, and they both have the aura with a reach of 4.
Yep. So with Oath of Vengeance, whenever you roll judgment dice, roll 1 more. You get the aura that we mentioned before. Your Radiant Judgment also triggers when an ally within it is attacked while you have no judgment dice. Very nice. And Avenger. Whenever you or an ally within your aura gain any wounds, change up to that many judgment dice to their max. Then move half your speed for free. Alright, I see where it's going there. Then Unerring Judgment. Increase your primary die rolls on melee attacks by 1 whenever you have judgment dice. And at 15, Maximum Judgment. Maximum Effort. Whenever you are attacked, set a judgment die to its max.
Nice.
And we have Oath of Refuge, the Aura of Refuge. Your shields gain +1 will armor and count as your spellcasting focus. Gain an aura with a reach of 4. You can interpose for an ally anywhere within your aura.
Nice. That's a really good reach for interposing.
Yep. At level 7, you get Face Me, Foul Creature. When you interpose, the attacking enemy is also taunted by you until the end of their next turn. Then at 11, you get Glorious Reprieve. You and allies within your aura cannot drop below 1 HP. Whenever this triggers, they gain 1 wound instead. Heroes still die at max wounds. And at 15, you get Divine Grace. You are resistant to all damage while interposing. So we definitely... There is a very consistent pattern of one subclass is more about offense, one is more about support that I've been seeing so far.
Yeah.
But then we have the Shadowmancer, which opens with totally not evil.
Come on, what can be scary about charcoal colored skeletons with funny green clouds in the middle of the night with a guy that has yellow eyes? And he has bird skulls on his belt.
But there's a nice little self-awareness with the description. But key stats are intelligence and dexterity. Hit die is 1d8. Starting HP is 13. Saves are positive save is intelligence, negative save is will, have cloth armor, and can use blades and wands. Uh,
I love
so,
that it has a shovel, so you're gonna have to dig a lot of friends.
mhm. Yeah, because you have my sword, and my bow, and my axe, and your brother. But at level 1, you get Conduit of Shadow. Your patron grants you knowledge of Shadow Blast, Necrotic Cantrip. It's a one action thing, range of 8. Damage is 1d12 plus key, and an additional 1d12 every 5 levels. You also get Summon Shadows, another necrotic cantrip, which gets plus 1 reach every 5 levels. Summon a shadow minion within reach 1. You can summon a max of intelligence or level minions this way, whichever is lower. And as an action, once per turn, command all your minions to move 6, then attack. Reach 1, 1d12 each. If you get your intelligence higher, that could be particularly nasty.
You're gonna send a bunch of very angry bees to keep your enemies
Mhm.
from moving.
On the other hand, your shadow minions follow the normal minion rules. 1 HP, no damage bonus, and they don't crit. And because they're different creatures, you don't suffer the rushed attack penalty if you attack and then have them do it.
Nice.
Uh, but then we have at level 2, Master of Darkness. You get necrotic cantrips and tier 1 spells. So tier 1 necrotic spells. You also get Pilfered Power. You may steal power from your patron to cast tiered spells, always casting them at the highest tier you have unlocked. You can do this dexterity times before your patron takes notice. Each time you exceed this limit, your patron damages you for half your max HP as recompense. This limit resets when you commune with your patron during a safe rest.
Oh my god, so you're not really even using mana, you're just stealing. That's
Yep.
amazing.
I did say that this was very much leaning into warlocks, and that's definitely the case here.
Yeah.
Uh, at level 3, the Pact is sealed. Choose a subclass and 1 lesser shadow invocation. Uh, at level 4, you get your key stat increase and a gift from the master. Choose 1 greater shadow invocation.
Okay, I really like this one, this difference from the supplicate. You know how we discussed how you can change your stuff while you do a safe rest?
Yep.
Well, in the case of the Shadowmancer, your patron may ask for something in return for you respecting. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a really neat way to really assert that this is just a deal that you have to go through fully
Yeah.
to get your powers.
And you know who makes a good example of this sort of Shadowmancer and also just the warlock archetype in general?
Who?
Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog.
Oh yeah, I actually never thought about that.
Uh, as strong as he is, he's still answerable to his friends who they don't call them that, but his friends are basically the Loa.
Yeah.
The Loa are the gods when it comes to voodoo. But
Yeah, I
not
remember that.
exactly. It is complicated, and my knowledge of voodoo is limited to the styles coming out of Haiti, so which is not far removed from the styles you'd see in the Big Easy.
Yeah.
Uh, but at level 5, you can cast tier 2 spells. All of your spells are cast at that tier. So that's another reason why I thought of the Warlock, because of the whole auto upgrading your casting, though you're not limited to a pissant amount of spells.
Yeah.
Uh, your cantrips are upgraded. You also get your secondary stat increase. At level 6, you get another gift from the Master, so another Greater Shadow Invocation, and a Necrotic Utility spell. At level 7, you get your next subclass feature. You also get tier 3 spells. At level 8, you get your key stat increase. You get a lesser invocation. And you get a second necrotic utility spell. At level 9, you get another greater shadow invocation and your secondary stat increase. At level 10, you get your tier 4 spells and your cantrips go up. At level 11, you get your subclass and a third lesser shadow invocation. At level 12, you get Greedy Pact. When you would take damage from Pilfer Power, you make a strength save. On a 1 to 9, suffer damage as normal. On a 10 to 19, suffer only 10 HP of damage. On a 20 or higher, suffer no damage and cast the spell as if it were one tier higher. Okay, then. You also get your key stat increase. At level 13, you get tier 5 spells. And you get your secondary stat increase. At level 14, you get another gift from the Master, so another Greater Shadow Invocation, and you now know all necrotic utility spells. At level 15, you get your next subclass feature, and your cantrips upgrade. At level 16, you get tier 6 spells, and your key stat increase. At level 17, you get Dire Shadows. Attacks against your shadow minions are made with disadvantage. They take no damage from successful saves. You also get your secondary stat increase. At level 18, you get another Greater Shadow Invocation. You also get your... At level 19, you get your Epic Boon and can now cast tier 7 spells. And at level 20, you get Eldritch Usurper. +1 to any 2 of your stats. Whenever you summon a single shadow minion, summon 2 instead. They die only when they receive 12 or more damage at one time.
Wow.
They don't have 12 HP. They have to take 12 damage in one instance. Otherwise they are still around. And when it comes to invocations, we have the lesser and greater ones. So lesser would be things like abhorrent speech. You can communicate with horrible creatures. Beguiling intelligence. Once a day you can reroll an influence check. Beguiling influence. I don't know why I said intelligence there. Blood sight. Once a day you can reroll an examination check. Additionally, you can detect traces of blood on a surface even after it's been cleaned. So have them around Dexter. Then Devoted Acolyte. Learn 2 of the following languages: Celestial, Draconic, Deep Speak, Infernal, or Primordial. You have advantage on lore checks related to those 2 languages. Then we have Eldritch Sense. You can sense the presence of any shape changer or creature concealed by magic while within 6 spaces of them. And Gaze of 2 Minds. Touch a willing creature and perceive through its senses instead of your own for as long as you hold concentration. Then Knowledge from Beyond. Whenever you fail an Insight or Arcana check, you may suffer 1 wound to succeed instead. And My Favored Pet. 1 shadow minion can begrudgingly tolerate you outside of combat. It can, very creepily, do any menial task a below-average commoner could. And Voice of the Dark. You can communicate telepathically with a humanoid within 6 spaces. That'd be a really good way to give someone a panic attack. Somebody's just walking around and then they hear voices in their head.
That would be amazing.
And Whispers of the Grave. Once per day, you can ask a dead creature 3 yes or no questions. It can never be questioned this way again. I'm suddenly reminded of that one dead guy in the first Hellboy movie.
Oh yeah.
The one who ended up going, "If I had legs, I would kick your ass." But then for greater invocations, we have Armor of Shadows. Reduce all damage you receive by an amount equal to the number of minions you have. I'm really getting a lot of swarm tactics from the Shadowmancer. Then Fiendish Boon. Increase your dex or intelligence by 1. You have 1 fewer maximum hit dice.
Wow.
Hungering Shadows. Whenever one of your shadows would crit, the next tiered spell you cast this encounter does not cost the use of a pilfered power.
Nice.
One with the Shadows. As an action, when you are in an area of dim light or darkness, you may become invisible until you move or attack. Yeah, that tracks. I think that was in 5e as well.
Yeah.
Then Repelling Blast. When you hit a medium or smaller creature with Shadow Blast, you can push the creature up to 2 spaces away from yourself.
I think that was as well in 5e.
Yep. Shadow Magus. Your minions gain +4 reach and deal d10 damage instead.
Wow. Well, it's actually a bit less because didn't they do like d12 damage? Oh, but that was 1 reach.
Mm-hmm. But it might be worth it if your preferred tactic is carpet bombing.
Yeah.
And then Shadow Spear. Your Shadow Blast can target creatures twice as far away. It ignores cover, and you may attack prone targets with advantage with it instead of disadvantage.
Nice.
And Shadow Rush. When your Shadow minions attack instead of rolling damage, you may have any of them deal the max amount, then die. I suppose I don't know why, but looking at this, I keep thinking of Chaos Legion. Bit of a deep cut, but that's the vibe I'm getting from this. Then Shadow Warp. As an action, you can switch places with a creature within 12 spaces that has been dealt necrotic damage this turn. Then Swarming Shadows. Whenever one of your shadows would crit, summon another shadow minion adjacent to the target. And Vengeful Blast. Whenever a minion dies, you may cast Shadow Blast as a reaction, even if you already cast it this turn.
Oh my god, imagine that with Shadow Rush.
Yeah, especially if you've got a handful of shadows already out.
Just take out an Eldritch Machine Gun by that point.
Mm-hmm. Then the subclasses. First we have the Pact of the Red Dragon. Ersu Drakur. So at level 3 you get Draconic Crimson Rite. Your patron gives you knowledge of fire spells. Your shadow minions become flaming dragon wormling shadows. Your Shadow Blast and minions can deal fire or necrotic damage and inflict smoldering whenever they would crit.
Nice.
At level 7, Will All Burn. You may cast Pyroclasm without pilfering power by including yourself in the damage. Your advantage on the save. Choose 1 fire utility spell. And at level 11, Heart of Burning Fire. Regain 1 use of pilfered power each time you roll initiative. This expires at the end of combat if unused. And at level 15, Enveloped by the Master. Gain 1d4 wounds to cast Dragon Form.
I have a very close friend who is going to love this because he's a damn pyromaniac.
Yeah, this feels like what would happen if a Bright Wizard decided to become a Warlock.
Yeah.
Because, especially a Bright Wizard in Vermintide, where if you end up casting too much too fast, you can explode.
All right.
But then we have the Pact of the Abyssal Depths. At level 3, you get Master of Night Frost. Your patron gives you knowledge of ice spells, gain the ability to breathe underwater. Your shadow minions become beings of Night Frost. Your Shadow Blast and minions can deal cold or necrotic damage, and whenever they would crit, you gain Intelligence plus level Temp HP. At 7th level, we have Shadow Frost. Your Shadow Blast also slows. You can cast Cryo Sleep or Rime Blades without pilfering power by expending 10 Temp HP, and choose 1 Ice utility spell. At 11th, you get Glacial Resistance. Once per safe rest, as a reaction, whenever you are attacked or would gain a condition, gain 10 times level Temp HP and end all negative conditions on yourself. At the end of your next turn, any remaining Temp HP is lost. At level 15, you get Cryomancer's Reprisal. Pay half your max HP to cast any ice spell. After casting an ice spell in this way, you gain an invisible aura. The next creature that hits you with a melee attack this encounter takes cold damage equal to half the HP you spent on this casting.
Wow.
So we have fire and ice for the pacts.
Yeah.
Although one is very much I cast from HP on that kind of high risk, and the other one is weaponizing Temp HP. It is a nice touch, and it's the Shadowmancer is still the swarm approach.
Right. But sometimes it's fun when you take the Pact of the Red Dragon and you just become the Swarm Lord while being an actual dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second because it is almost midnight and I need to get something quick for dinner. I'll be right back.
All right, I will hit the BRB for a few minutes. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And the next one we have is the Shepherd. I will note with the art here, which all the character art has been phenomenal. It is a little bit on the nose to have a... I'm assuming that's it's a German Shepherd for the dog. That is...
I don't know. I'm not that sure. It looks closer to a Labrador or a Golden Retriever.
Probably. If it was a German Shepherd, that would be way too on the nose.
Yeah.
But...
Well, to be fair, a Golden Retriever being golden is also kind of the nose, so...
yeah. Mulligan. But this is most definitely the Cleric. Oh. I do remember somebody asking, why is it that clerics often use maces when aren't they supposed to be against taking lives? Isn't there rules against that in faiths? And I ended up channeling Shepherd Book saying, "Oh, it's quite specific. It is however somewhat fuzzy on the subject of kneecaps."
Yeah, just look at the Morning Star.
But it is talking about the balance of life and death, which that'll be an interesting thing to look into, as well as having a faithful companion.
Nice.
So which is this one's going to be interesting because the question that's going to be in the back of my mind is, how is it going to differentiate its casting from what the Oathsworn can do here? And I think we have the answer to a certain point right off the gate. So, Shepherd's key stats are Will and Strength. They have D10 hit die and 17 HP. Pretty high for a caster.
Yeah.
Positive save is Will. Negative save is Dex. They can use mail armor and shields, as well as strength weapons and wands. They're at level 1, they get Keeper of Life and Death, so they know Radiant and Necrotic cantrips. They also get Searing Light, which they can use a number of times equal to their will per safe rest. As an action, they can heal or inflict injuries. Either heal will D8 HP to a dying creature within reach 6, or inflict will D8 radiant damage to an undead or bloodied enemy within reach 6.
So basically, off the gate, no need to separate between heal light wounds and inflict light wounds and stuff like that.
Yeah. And as somebody who was trying to get rid of a lot of redundant spells in his own work, I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, I've roasted the insistence on having 18 different versions of protection from. Okay, it wasn't 18, but I'm only slightly exaggerating the amount, but you don't need a bunch of spells that are just the same thing with a different subject. But at level 2, you get mana and tier 1 spells. You're going to be unlocking Radiant and Necrotic spells. Your mana pool is Will times 3 plus level, and you get it back on a safe rest. As an aside, I will note that when it comes to mana getting recharged on safe rests, I enjoy that because it means we are continuing to not deal with the Vancian bullshit.
Hell yeah.
Is the reason people
One more
are
day hating Vancian bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I will hate on that. I will hate on that for at any chance I get. It is generational hatred. But at level 2, you also get Life-Binding Spirit, a tier 1 radiant spell. As an action, summon a spirit companion that follows you and is immune to harm. It lasts until you cast the spell again, take a safe rest, or it heals a number of times equal to the mana spent summoning it. As an action, it attacks or heals a creature within reach 4. This attack is for 1d6 plus will radiant damage, ignoring armor, or heals for the same amount. And
Nice.
you can upcast it, increment its die size by 1 to a max of d12, as well as +1 healing use. Then flavor is free. Your life-binding spirit can take the form of any small/tiny friendly animal or similar creature. Dog, lamb, rabbit, sparrow, etc. Make sure you give your little buddy a name, too. Outside of combat, your companion is a spirit, so it can pass through walls and dangers harmlessly and briefly move away from you, but always prefers to be faithfully at your side. It cannot speak. And the matter of rush attacks in your companion, you and your companion use the same action pool, but count as different creatures, so you can each attack once without rushed attacks every round. Teamwork. The fact that companions don't count for rushed attacks is something I like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the fantasy of having a companion that you fight alongside means you actually fight alongside it, not separate from it. I've had this pet peeve with companion rules in a lot of games where the companion is treated almost as a simplified version of a full-ass character. And you do that, you're giving someone another character sheet to manage.
Yeah.
And God help you if you end up having a roster like you're a Pokemon trainer or something. But at level 3, you get your Shepherd subclass. You also get Master of Twilight. Choose one Necrotic and one Radiant utility spell. At level 4, you get your Tier 2 spells. You also get your key stat increase. At level 5, you get your secondary stat increase, your cantrips get upgraded, and you choose 2 Sacred Graces. Oh, so, alright. At level 6, you get your Tier 3 spells. You also get an additional utility spell for your spell lists. At level 7, you get your next subclass feature. At level 8, you get your Tier 4 spells and your key stat increase. At level 9, you get another Sacred Grace and your secondary stat increase. At level 10, you get your Tier 5 spells and your cantrips go up again. At level 11, you get your next subclass feature, and now you know all Radiant and Necrotic utility spells.
Nice.
At 12, you get your Tier 6 spells and your key stat increase. At 13, you get another Sacred Grace and your secondary stat increase. At 14, you now can cast Tier 7 spells. At 15, you get your subclass feature, and your cantrips go up again. At 16, you get your Tier 8 spells, and your key stat goes up. At 17, you get Revitalizing Blessing. Once per round, whenever you roll a 6 or higher on one or more healing die, the target can recover 1 wound. Nice. Wounds are not easy to recover. You get your secondary stat increase as well. At 18, you get Tier 9 spells, which means you're going to be better at Necrotic than the Shadowmancer, who caps at 7.
Yeah, but I think that if I remember last time we checked, Necrotic doesn't have more than Tier 7 spells.
Let's double check that.
It's one of the things that you actually pointed out.
Yeah, that is true. They cap at 7. Radiant does not.
Yeah, I'm guessing Radiant caps at 9.
Yep. At 19, you get your Epic Boon. At 20, you get Twilight Sage, so +1 to any 2 of your stats. Your Life Binding Spirit rolls twice as many dice.
Nice.
And You upgrade your cantrips for the final time. So with Sacred Graces, we have Assist Me, my friend. Whenever you make your first melee attack each round, you can add your Life-Binding Spirit's damage to the attack. Then Empowered Companion. Whenever you spend mana to call forth your Life-Binding Spirit, you cast it as if you spent 1 additional mana, ignoring the typical spell tier restrictions. The maximum die size is now a d20. That'll be interesting with some of the other stuff here. Then Guiding Spirit. When your Life-Binding Spirit rolls a 6 or higher on its damage die, the target begins to glow with a radiant light. The next attack against that target has advantage. It's a very Lance of Faith kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then Hasty Companion. +4 reach for your Life-Binding Spirit. It can also act for free when summoned.
That's really useful.
Mm-hmm. So that is basically Magic the Gathering style haste.
Yeah.
And Illuminate Soul. As an action, a creature within 6 spaces begins to glow with a radiant light. For 1 round, attacks against them are made with your choice of advantage or disadvantage. You may do this a number of times per safe rest equal to your will.
That's really good because it's a double option. You can cast it on enemies or you can cast it on your own allies.
Yep. Then Light Bearer. Regain 1 use of Searing Light when you roll initiative. This expires if unspent. And Not Beyond My Reach. You may target creatures who have been dead less than 1 round for healing. For every 10 HP a dead creature is healed this way, you may have them recover 1 wound instead. You must heal at least 1 wound to revive them. And then Vengeful Spirit. As an action, your Life-Binding Spirit sacrifices itself to transform into a swirling vortex of radiant light. At the end of your turn, it damages all enemies within 3 spaces of you, ignoring armor and cover. This lasts for a number of rounds equal to the healing charges left on the Life-Binding Spirit. This effect ends early if you summon your spirit again. So, turn your Life-Binding Spirit into a Thorns attack. Very nice.
Really liking a lot of how much focus it puts on your companion.
Mm-hmm. So then we have the subclasses are the Luminary of Mercy and Malice, which definitely fits the duality that the class is going for. So for Mercy, you can get Merciful Healing. When an effect caused by you heals a dying creature, they are healed for twice as much, once per round. Your Life-Binding Spirit can act for free while you are dying.
Nice.
Then Life is Beautiful. Harmless and lovely creatures such as butterflies and hummingbirds are attracted to your presence and often follow you. Flowers bloom more vibrantly in your presence. Interesting. Then at level 7, you get Conduit of Light. When an effect caused by you would heal HP, you may expend 1 use of Searing Light to heal, or damage, ignoring armor, another target within 6 spaces of yourself for the same amount. So chain healing. Or chain damage. At 11, you get Powerful Healer. This can be used a number of times equal to your will per safe rest. Whenever you would roll dice to heal damage, you may instead heal the max amount you could roll, or give that many temp HP.
Nice.
That would pair really well with the Abyssal Depths.
Yeah.
Then at 15, you get Empowered Conduit. Your Conduit of Light may target 1 additional creature. Regain 1 charge of Searing Light when you roll initiative. So, if you want to heal the shit out of people, Luminary of Mercy is the approach. But Luminary of Malice, at level 3, you get Soul Reaper. Not to be confused with bleach. When you use searing light to harm an enemy, make a second enemy within range take the same amount of damage, ignoring armor. And Harbinger of Decay. Vibrant colors and lovely smells are suppressed near you. Foods spoil more rapidly in your presence, and you frequently awaken to flies whenever you lodge. You may have your life-binding spirit shift to a deathly version of itself, a zombie dog, a devious imp, etc., and have its damage become necrotic. At level 7, you get Veilwalker's Blessing. Once per safe rest, as a reaction, when you would drop to 0 HP, drop to 1 HP instead, and force an enemy within 6 spaces to make a strength save. On a failure, they become bloodied. Or if they are already bloodied, they drop to 0 HP.
Wow, that's just an instant kill on people that is on things that are less than half their HP.
Mm-hmm. It is basically the fuck you button. Oh, you thought you took me out? No, I'm taking you. Which makes sense why you can only use it once per safe rest.
Yeah.
Oh. But then, at level 11, you get Deathbringer's Touch. Your first melee attack each round against a bloodied creature is an automatic critical hit. Your life-binding spirit deals additional damage equal to your strength. And at 15, you get Conduit of Death. Your Veilwalker's Blessing ability recharges when you roll initiative. This charge is lost if unspent at the end of combat. So, there. I know I said there was some Necromancer tendencies with the Shadowmancer, but that's definitely the case with the Luminary of Malice. So you can either be a Priest of Life or a Priest of Death.
You're either the nicest person in the whole world or the biggest asshole in the entire world.
Mm-mm. Yep. But then Songweaver. So this is the Bard. Bard is not as cursed as some of the other cursed classes, but it's not far off. It has had it has had a rocky history.
Yeah.
And I'd say the Bard until once it did the Diplomancer thing is when things started to take shape. So the problem was it's a jack of all trades in a class-based system. Those two don't mix.
No.
And to anyone who thinks they do, imagine a jack of all trades player on a sports team. Are there some sports that have certain players that are multi-role, like say dual threat quarterbacks in football? Yeah, but they're not doing everything. The whole quarterback who can run trend that we've seen the last few years is more of a backup plan in case the play goes south, and it will. You can set up all the plans, but no plan survives the first encounter, and sometimes if you can't pass, it might be best to run, or vice versa. But that's not a jack of all trades. That's a switch hitter. For those of you who don't follow baseball, a switch hitter is somebody who can hit from the left or right side, and they are pains in the ass for pitchers because they don't know what angle they're going to be hitting at. Of course, there can also be switch pitchers who are just as annoying because you don't know which side you're going to be seeing the ball come from. And yes, there was one instance where you had both out.
Wow.
They end up switching sides for about 3 minutes before all the umpires get on the field and stop play to try and figure out what to do because, technically speaking, nobody was breaking any rules. Because what are the odds you'd have two ambidextrous players out at the same time? But anyway, The Songweaver's key stats are Will and Intelligence. Has 1d8 for hit die. Starting HP is 13. Its positive save is Will. Its negative save is Strength. Can use cloth and leather armor, as well as dexterity weapons and wands. Interesting. And at level 1, it gets wind spell casting and cantrips from the wind school and one other school of your choice. You also know the cantrip Vicious Mockery.
As you should, as any party in the world has to.
Mm-hmm. Which is a wind cantrip, takes 1 action, range is 12, damages 1d4 plus intelligence psychic damage, ignoring armor, and the target is taunted during the next turn. Every 5 levels, the damage goes up by 2. I'm pretty sure we are all not above using Vicious Mockery to tell the worst Yo Mama jokes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Or to tell the big bad of a story, you're adopted. You also get Songweaver's Inspiration, which you can use a number of times per safe rest equal to twice your will. As a free reaction, allow an ally to reroll a single die related to an attack or save. They must keep either result. Interesting.
Oh, so that's... I thought it would be something like Bardic Inspiration, but this just gives the lucky feat.
Yeah. Oh. At level 2, you get your mana pool and tier 1 spells. You unlock tier 1 spells in schools you know and gain a mana pool to cast them. The mana pool's maximum is always equal to intelligence times 3 plus level and recharges on a safe rest. You also get Jack of all trades. When you safe rest, you can move a skill point as if you just leveled up. And Song of Rest. Once per day, whenever you field rest, you may play a song and allow anyone who spends hit dice to heal additional HP equal to your will. Which Song of Rest is always a classic. Jack of all trades is how I'd expect it to. This has a bit more versatility when it comes to its spellcasting pool compared to some of the other casters we've seen. But at level 3, you get your Songweaver subclass. You also get Quick Wit. When you roll initiative, you may regain 2 spent uses of your Songweaver's inspiration. These expire at the end of combat if left unused. You also gain Windbag. Get 1 utility spell from each spell school you know. That's what we're calling it? Okay. At level 4, you get your tier 2 spells. You also get your key stat increase and lyrical weaponry. Choose 1 ability from the lyrical weaponry list. At 5th level, you get a people person. You've met many people in your travels. Some have even agreed to come to your aid should you need it. Choose 2 friends you know. You can temporarily summon them via song once per safe rest each.
Imagine being in the most deadly fight and you decide to summon your best friend who is a innkeeper. He has no idea what he's doing there out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't
But
want to be
I
that
feel
guy.
like a people person is this game's equivalent to I know a guy.
Yeah.
But at level 6, you get your tier 3 spells and a second utility spell. At level 7, you get your subclass feature. At level 8, you get your tier 4 spells and your key stat increase. At level 9, you get another lyrical weapon pick. At level 10, you get your tier 5 spells, and your cantrips get stronger. At level 11, you get your next subclass feature. At level 12, you get your tier 6 spells and your key stat increase. At level 13, you get another lyrical weapon and your secondary stat increase. At level 14, you get your tier 7 spells and and now you know all utility spells from the spell schools you know. At level 15, you get your next subclass feature and your cantrips upgrade. At level 16, you get your tier 8 spells and your key stat increase. At level 17, you get another lyrical weaponry and your secondary stat increase. At level 18, you get your tier 9 spells. At level 19, your epic boon. At level 20, in addition to upgrading your cantrips, you get I'm So Famous. +1 to any 2 of your stats. Your Songweaver's inspiration cannot fail. Your target succeeds. And when it comes to lyrical weaponry, we have Heroic Ballad, +2 max Songweaver's inspiration charges. When used to reroll an ally's attack, your Songweaver's inspiration also grants them +will damage on the attack.
Nice.
And Inspiring Anthem, once per encounter as an action, grant all friendly dying creatures who can hear you 1 HP and 1 action. And Not My Beautiful Face! Once per encounter, when you defend, force the attacker to choose another target within range on a failed will save. If there is none, the attack fails. If they fail by 5 or more, they attack themselves as punishment for even thinking they could harm you. On a save, they attack you with disadvantage. Then, Rhapsody of the Normal. When you roll 4 or more on your Vicious Mockery, you can spend a Songweaver's Inspiration charge to temporarily suppress any special abilities they have until the end of their next turn. They can only do what an untrained average villager can do. Attack once for 1d4 damage and move up to 6 spaces. No armor, spellcasting, flying, regeneration, or other inherent or trained features. Which...
You literally just reset them to fabric from factory to whatever they were before. That's amazing, just by insulting them.
Then Song of Domination, once per encounter, takes 2 actions. Play a bewitching tune, and all enemies within 6 spaces who hear it must make a will save. If they fail, you move them up to 6 spaces in any direction, and they cannot move on their next turn.
Wow. Oh, here it is. A people person is not people you choose. It's people from here.
Pretty much. And these... So we have Stompy. 3 actions, summons a huge hill giant for 1 round. And then use Stompy Stomp. So make a influence check. On a success, he moves 6 spaces in a direction you choose. On a failure, he moves towards you instead. He deals everything in his path damage equal to level plus the influence check. Any creature within 6 spaces of Stompy can use this ability once instead of an attack. Then Mal, the Malevolent Imp. Summon a tiny friend for 1 night. He can find out dangerous information you have no right to know, or take care of a problem with only the slightest chance of things going wrong. Make an influence check to convince him to help you. Advantage if you ask him to do something he would find mischievous or fun. Disadvantage if it's something he would find good or menial. And Gran, not a hag. When resting, you may summon her for 1 hour to soothe your wounds and hassle you for not eating enough. She bakes and hands out pastries equal to your will plus intelligence. Eating 1 recovers 1 mana, hit die, or wound. Eat them while they're warm. They expire in 10 minutes. Yeah, that definitely sounds like someone's grandma. And Linos the Ever-Friendly. Summon a legendary flying but friendly creature to take you and your party wherever you need to go. He may request a large amount of food as payment.
You're
I might.
literally using fly from Pokemon.
Yep. Oh. And the subclasses we have the Herald of Snark and Courage. So, Herald of Snark at level 3, they get Opportunistic Snark. As a reaction, when an enemy within range 12 misses an attack, you may cast Vicious Mockery at them. It deals double damage when cast this way.
Oh god.
Uh, at 7th level, you get Fight Picker. Once per turn, when an enemy is damaged by your Vicious Mockery, you may have one of your allies taunt them until the end of the enemy's turn instead. Uh, Then at 11, you get Chord of Chaos. Once per encounter as an action, you may move all creatures within hearing of your song up to 3 spaces, as long as they do not move into an obviously dangerous place. And at 15, you get Words Like Swords. Your Vicious Mockery damage becomes 1d6 plus Intelligence plus Will.
An entire subclass dedicated almost exclusively to Vicious Mockery. It's a dream come true.
And Herald of Courage. At level 3, you get Inspiring Presence. When you use Inspiration, your allies within 12 spaces who can hear you gain Will temporary HP. Unfailing Courage at level 7. Your presence inspires others to feats of heroism and courage heard of only in legend. Your Songweaver's inspiration allows your target to roll with advantage. And Fire in My Bones at level 11. Your Songweaver's inspiration grants your target 1 additional action. And at 15, Chorus of Champions. Once per encounter, as a free reaction, give all party members 1 action. So, Snark is built around Vicious Mockery, while Courage is built around Inspiration.
Inspiration, yeah.
But I'd say this is a case of avoiding the curse that the Bard has had to deal with for most of its run. So it is definitely a support archetype, but it's funny how reworking magic makes a lot of casters not suck as much.
Yeah. I like at the end that you can make your own people for the people's person.
Mm-hmm.
If you can work it out with the DM, that's a really neat thing to have.
Oh yeah. But then we have Storm Shifter, who's very much channeling Druid. It does not escape my notice that I think the 2 dogs in the emblem for this class are... I feel like this is supposed to be a nod to Skull and Hati.
Just think of it as there are 2 wolves living inside you.
Mm-hmm. For those unfamiliar with Norse myth, Skull and Hati are the 2 wolves that are chasing the sun and moon. And when they finally catch them, that is one of the early signs that Ragnarok is beginning.
Because it's when it's about to start the longest winter, isn't it?
Yeah. Fimbulwinter.
Yeah.
But so Storm Shifter's key stats are Will and Dex. They have a D8 hit die. 8 have 13 HP. Their saves are Will and Strength respectively. They have cloth or leather armor and staves or wands. So at level 1 they get Master of Storms. You know they get cantrips from the Lightning and Wind schools. They also get Beast Shift. You can transform into a harmless beast. While transformed, you can speak with animals. This form lasts until you drop to 0 HP, cast a spell, or if you end it on your turn for free. You have a number of charges for Beast Shift equal to your Dex. They reset on a safe rest. When you shapeshift into a tiny beast, Attacks against you are made with disadvantage, but any damage ends that shapeshift form. But then we have the Dire Beast form at level 2. You can be shifted into a fearsome beast. This is also where you start getting your tiered spells,
Nice.
as well as your mana pool, which is will times 3 plus level. At level 3, you get your subclass. You also get Dire Beast form. You can beast shift into a beast of the pack. Pretty sure we'll see these stat setup for the different beasts later.
I really hope it's not like 5e druids where you have to have every single stat block for every single transformation at hand.
Given what we've seen with this, I seriously doubt that.
I hope so.
Yep. At level 4, you get your tier 2 spells, your key stat increase, and Stormcaller. You're going to get a utility spell from each spell school you know. So the utility spells from the Lightning and Wind schools.
Right.
At tier 5, you can beast shift into a Beast of Nightmares. You get upgraded cantrips, and your secondary stat go up. At 6, you get Chimeric Boon. Choose 2 Chimeric Boons. Whenever you shapeshift into a Dire Beast form, you can modify it with 1 Chimeric Boon you know.
Nice.
You also get Expert Shifter, get additional use of Beast Shift, and your tier 3 spells. At 7th, you get your subclass feature, and another utility spell. At 8th, you get your tier 4 spells, a key stat increase, and Stormborn. You have resistance to lightning damage, and once a day you may gain advantage on a nature, craft, or concentration check. At 9th, you get another Chimeric Boon, as well as another use of Beast Shift, and your secondary increase.
For the description of Chimeric Boom, I think I might like it because it sounds like meta magic but for shapeshift.
Possibly. We'll get to that in a minute. At 10th, you get your tier 5 spells and upgraded cantrips. At 11th, you get your next subclass feature. At 12th, you get your tier 6 spells, a key stat increase, another Chimeric Boon, and another use of Beast Shift. At 13th, you get your secondary stat boost, and you get a improved version of Stormborn. Instead of rolling dice, deal the max damage of a wind spell by spending a charge of your Beast Shift feature. Whenever you end Beast Shift, you can use a cantrip for free.
Nice.
At 14, you get tier 7 spells. At 15, you get your next subclass feature and upgraded cantrips. At 16, you get your tier 8 spells and your key stat goes up. At 17, you get another Chimeric Boon and your secondary stat increase. At 18th, you get your tier 9 spells. At 19, you get an Epic Boon. And at 20th, you get Archdruid. You get +2 to any 2 of your stats, and once per encounter, you can cast a spell up to tier 4 for free when you enter or leave a Beast Shift form, and your cantrips improve for the last time.
I imagine that the tier 4 for free that you get for Archdruid also includes, in case you just feel like it, an upcasting.
And as far as the whole thing with shapeshifting, it is clear that we don't have to deal with that whole big-ass list because you only have 3 Dire Beast forms.
Thank God.
So we have Fearsome Beast. You turn into a large beast that gets the Gore attack as well as Fearsome.
Nice.
Gore deals damage and gives temp HP. Fearsome has it that when you interpose or defend, you can spend 1 mana to force them to reroll the attack. Beast of the Pack turns you into a medium beast. You get extra speed equal to your dex. You get Supercharge and Thunderfang. Whenever you crit or kill one or more enemies, Thunderfang gets additional 1d4 lightning damage.
Nice.
With Supercharge, you spend up to Will in mana, and your next Thunderfang attack deals an additional 1d8 lightning damage per mana spent. But if you miss, you take that damage.
Ouch.
And Beast of Nightmares, you turn into a tiny beast or insect, provided it is horrible. Gain the Sting attack and Silent but Deadly. So Sting deals piercing damage and acid damage that ignores armor.
Wow.
Or 3 times level normally, 4 times level if you crit.
Yeah, it's 1d4 plus 3 times your level,
Mhm.
and 1d4 plus 4 times your level if it's a crit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Silent but Deadly has a speed of 2. You cannot defend or interpose. Attackers cannot target you until you become conspicuous, i.e. being seen, transforming, or attacking.
Nice.
And the Chimeric Boons which you can use with any Dire Beast form. We have Beast of the Sea. You can act underwater without penalty. Climber.
Nice.
You can walk across walls and ceilings and ignore difficult terrain. Fleet-footed gives you +2 speed, acknowledge on strength checks, and against the grapple condition. Earthwalker gives you +2 armor. You can burrow through dirt and unworked rock at half speed, and you have advantage against prone. With keen senses, you have advantage on perception and assess checks. You're not affected by blinded. With leader of the pack, you have advantage against fear and charm effects for yourself and allies within 6 spaces. For phase beast, whenever you shift between this form and your normal form, and vice versa, you may teleport up to 6 spaces to a place you can see. And prehensile tail, creatures that hit you in melee that are your size or larger or not larger, smaller, are grappled. If you hit a larger creature, you may move with it when it moves. And winged, gain a flying speed. Force movement moves you twice as far while flying.
Imagine you go into the fearsome beast, a giant bear with wings. I'll just run the fuck away.
Yeah. Or somebody's going into the forest, and all of a sudden, the hermit transforms into a fucking manticore. Yeah, the chimera. And when it comes to the Beast of Nightmares, I want you to imagine taking that approach and adding in Earthwalker.
Oh wow. Yeah, because they'll never see you again.
Yeah, Earthwalker, or imagine taking Phase Beast and with Beast of Nightmares, and now you have a teleporting spider.
Or worse, you become a flying cockroach.
Though, of course, at the same time, since it talks about a tiny beast, it could just as well be a Wolverine. You know, the thing that's about 15 pounds of pure, unadulterated hatred. And again, I've told this story before. The amount of hate that the Wolverine has makes sense when you consider the rest of its family. Because Wolverines are in the same family as honey badgers and skunks.
What the hell, man? That's like an unholy trinity of horror.
Of course, at the same time, I ended up learning that kangaroos are technically in the same family as deer, which makes more sense than it should.
Yeah, that's true.
But and Aid says a teleporting spider, that just sounds like a normal spider from Australia.
Yeah, you have to imagine that every single thing that we can come up with chimeric boons, there must be deep lore in Australia that that thing is actually real,
Oh, some of them. Uh,
especially at the center.
but when it comes to the subclasses, we have the Circle of Sky and Storm. Uh, at level 3, you get Deepening Study. You can learn from either Ice or Radiant. Uh, you also get Creature of the Fae. You can cast spells while beast shifted. And Attuned to Nature. Once per day, add your level to any skill check related to nature or weather. At level 7, you get Raging Tempest. Whenever you crit with a tiered spell, you may cast a cantrip for free from a school you know and haven't cast any spells from this turn, at the same level of advantage or disadvantage. Uh, so a bit of a switch hitter approach there. At level
Yeah.
11, you get Primordial Force. Spending 2+ mana on a spell grants an additional effect. If it's ice, you get temporary HP equal to your will. If it's lightning, you deal additional damage equal to your will. If it's radiant, you can heal a creature within 6 spaces will HP. If it's wind, you gain a flying speed this turn and move up to 6 spaces for free. And at level 15, you get Master of Storm. You can concentrate on one lightning spell and one wind spell at the same time, once per safe rest. You can cast Ride the Lightning for free. Well, not fully free. You still have to spend the action cost, but you don't spend mana on it.
I'm guessing that when you cast a spell by a feat, I don't know if you can like for this case in Ride the Lightning you don't. But I imagine that for the rest of feats that let you cast a spell, you don't need the materials if it is a material spell. If it has a material component.
None of these spells have material components. It's not doing the component thing.
Oh, nice.
Like if you have access to the spell list, you can cast it. We're not doing the whole material,
Hell yeah.
verbal or somatic thing. Now you might be able to if you have like a certain magic staff or wand, you might be better at casting, but you can't not cast.
Right.
And if you and yes, you do have the whole thing with a spellcasting focus, which just means that can be used instead of an empty. It means that you can have something in your hand while still casting. That's why for the Oathsworn who could treat their shield as a spellcasting focus, normally you need at least one hand in order to cast spells.
Right.
You need to have one hand free. If you have a spellcasting focus, you don't need that. Sidesteps that restriction. So that's the closest thing to component restrictions, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Since component restrictions imply that there is a specific system to using magic, and if that's the case, you can't play halfsies.
Right, because by itself, as we saw, the mage is more akin to a sorcerer, where it just knows magic.
Oh yeah. But the Circle of Fang and Claw, which I think this is the incarnation of the Moon Circle Druid, You know, one that, hey, I heard you like shape-shifting. Uh,
Yeah,
at
it
level
seems like the subclasses for this one are you're either a caster dedicated to nature or you go full in with the shape shifting.
mm-hmm. But at level 3, you get Swift Shift. He's trying to say that 5 times fast. When you roll initiative, you may beast shift or move for free. While transformed, you may shift between different dire beast forms for free, and as a reaction by spending 1 mana. However, beast shifting for free does not grant any temp HP. You're turning the 3 beast shift forms you have into stance dancing, right at level 3. You also get Windborn Protector. Once per encounter, as a reaction, when an enemy attacks, spend 2 mana to shift into a fearsome beast. Then you may interpose from up to 12 spaces away and defend for free, if you have not done so this round. That's a hell of a lot of range for interpose. Usually it's a lot closer.
Yeah, but I think that the paladin version have a similar thing? No,
Yeah,
there was like 4 spaces only.
mm-hmm. Not 12.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Mm-mm. And then Friend of Beasts. Beasts will not attack you until you first harm them. You may transform into harmless beasts without spending a beast shift charge. And at level 7, you get Unleash the Beast. Once per encounter, when you miss, you can crit instead. You also get Storm Wake. Once per encounter as an action, spend 3 mana to shift into a Beast of the Pack. Then teleport in a straight line up to 12 spaces away, unerringly dealing will d8 lightning damage to any creatures you choose adjacent to your path. So there's your lightning line. But at 11th, you get Master of Forms. Your shapeshift forms can have 2 chimeric boons at a time.
Wow.
Well, here's how you get the Manticore, folks. And Venomous Gaze. Once per encounter, as an action, spend 2 mana to shift into a Beast of Nightmares. Then entice a creature within 12 spaces to move 2 times will spaces closer to you on a failed will save. They roll with disadvantage and must repeat until they either save or can move no further. If they end up in the same space as you, you can sting them for free.
Wow. That's really good with the one that you mentioned, the one that goes underground.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And at 15, you get an improved Master of Forms. You can beast shift 2 additional times per safe rest, and you choose 2 additional chimeric boons. Your dire beast forms can have 3 at a time. I know they called it Circle of Fang and Claw, but it really should be Circle of the Chimera. Because that is more or less what we've got with Fang and Claw. But then we have Zephyr. I will try my best to not be biased because Zephyr is clearly the monk. So Zephyr's key stats are Dex and Strength, 1d8 hit die, 13 HP. Saves are Dexterity and Intelligence, no armor, melee weapons. Which does mean you don't always have to use fists, but you're gonna want to. At level 1, you get Iron Defense. Your armor equals Dex plus Strength as long as you're unarmored. So given that those are your key stats, that's going to be a nice move.
Yeah.
Then Swift Fists. Your unarmed strikes are not subject to disadvantage imposed by rush attacks. And their damage is d4 plus Strength. At level 2, you get Swift Feet. While unarmored, you get +2 speed and plus level initiative. You also get Burst of Speed. When you roll initiative, gain dexterity amounts of burst of speed to use during that encounter, once per turn. You can spend 1 burst of speed to use any of the following maneuvers for free. Slipstream, defend and the attack misses. Whirling Defense, defend and apply your armor to every attack this round. Swift Strike, attack on your turn and ignore disadvantage from rushed attacks. And Wind Step, move on your turn, ignoring difficult terrain. These feel like what would have been key abilities in 5e.
Yeah.
At level 3, you get your subclass. You also get Kinetic Momentum. Whenever you would gain a wound, get a burst of speed. And Ethereal Projection, once per day. By meditating for at least 10 minutes, you can project an ethereal version of yourself up to 30 feet away, passing through solid objects or barriers. You see through your projection's eyes, and it is visible to other creatures as a translucent version of yourself. It cannot interact physically with the environment, but can move freely within the distance limit and lasts for up to 10 minutes. So there's your astral projection.
Nice.
Then we have, at level 4, Unyielding Resolve. Ignore the first wound you would suffer each encounter when wounded abilities such as Kinetic Momentum still trigger. I got thrown off by the wording for a second. You get your key stat increase and a martial arts ability. But at level 5, you get Reverberating Strikes. You learn to focus your energy and transfer it as an additional concussive force into your foes. Add your leveled bludgeoning damage to all of your melee attacks. So even when using weapons, that's still going to apply. So what I'm seeing out of this is you're not forced to use unarmed combat. If you want to be a monk or a Zephyr who's using weapons, you can. You also get your secondary stat increase at level 5. At 6th, you get another martial arts ability, and Infuse Strength. As an action, make an unarmed strike against an ally and infuse them with a portion of your own strength instead of harming them. Expend any number of hit dice and heal them as you would heal yourself during a field rest. Roll them and add your strength to each. This is the good old Inoki slap of fighting spirit.
I'm really liking it. It
Oh.
borrows from various of the monk's subclasses.
At level 7, you get your next subclass feature. At level 8, you get another martial arts ability and your key stat increase. At level 9, you get Swift Feet, additional +2 to speed as long as you're unarmored, and your secondary stat increase. At level 10, you get another martial arts ability, and Unyielding Resolve. Ignore the first 2 wounds you would suffer each encounter. At level 11, you get your subclass. At level 12, you get another martial arts ability and your key stat increase. At level 13, your armor is doubled while unarmored. And you get your secondary stat increase. At 14th, you get Martial Master, giving you another martial arts ability. At 15th, you get your next subclass feature. At 16th, you get another martial arts ability and your key stat increase. At 17th, you get Unyielding Resolve. Ignore the first 3 wounds you suffer each encounter. And you have advantage on strength saves when dying. At 18th, you get another martial arts ability. At 19th, you get your Epic Boon. And at 20, you get Windborn. Aside from giving the +2 to any 2 of your stats, you get an additional burst of speed when you roll initiative and permanently gain 1 action. So I like the monk so far. I know it's Zephyr, but I'm going to keep calling it the monk.
I
But
can't
for
believe Mildred the monk likes the monk.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I had to deal with a long history of monks being a gimped-ass class, especially in like 3rd edition.
Even more so now that the pugilist exists in the newer version of D&D.
I haven't seen the pugilist, so I don't know. I don't know how, but I have a feeling it's almost replacing the monk.
Some aspects of it are redundant.
Mm. It's like monk likes the monk. I'm shocked. Truly, truly am. But
I know, right?
then for martial arts abilities, we have air shift. You cannot be grappled. While moving, you may travel across all terrain as normal ground, ignoring all ill effects. And then blur. Oh, blur is a ability, not a spell. Interesting. Once per encounter, when you defend, you may first move up to half your speed away, taking no damage if you are now out of range or have full cover. Good for the hit and run. Then body
Yep.
discipline. You may spend one action to end any non-wound condition on yourself. Very nice. Enduring Soul. Each time you roll initiative, gain hit dice equal to the actions you get on your first turn. These hit dice expire at the end of combat if unused. That'll be a good way to get some extra healing. And I jump on his back. While moving with your wind step, if you move into the space of a creature your size or larger, you may jump onto its back. While on a creature this way, gain advantage on melee attacks against it, and any damage you avoid is dealt to it instead. That's gonna be a fun one, especially if you're very dodgy.
Yeah.
Then Kinetic Barrage. Whenever you miss an attack, gain a cumulative plus strength bonus to all damage you do for the rest of this encounter. A disciplined martial artist does not miss on purpose. Then Mighty Soul. You cannot be moved against your will. Whenever you would fail a saving throw, you may gain a wound to add your strength to the result you rolled. You may repeat this any number of times. And then there's Quick Strike. When you interpose, you may first make an unarmed strike against the enemy for free. And use Momentum. Whenever you avoid all of the damage of a melee attack, whether it misses or you defend, you may swap places with the attacker and then choose another target that is now within the attack's reach. They are hit instead.
Wow.
Then Vital Rejuvenation. When you receive healing for the first time on a turn, you may heal another target within 6 spaces HP equal to your strength. And Windstrider. If you move through the space of a willing creature while using Wind Step, they can move with you and choose any space adjacent to you as to your path of movement to end in. I know we made the key comparisons with a lot of effects, but this isn't reliant on just have half of its ability pool just be key. Which I like.
Yeah.
But the subclasses that we have are the Way of Pain and the Way of Flame. So first, the Way of Pain. At level 3, you get Bring the Pain. Once per round, you may turn any melee attack against you into a crit. Whenever you are crit, reduce the damage by half. The attacker takes the same amount of damage you took, ignoring armor. You may suffer 1 wound to double the damage the enemy takes. So that is a case of shared suffering. Speaking of which, level 7 is Share My Pain. Your Swift Strike can also target a second creature within reach 2. And level 11, Pain sharpens the mind. While you are bloodied, gain advantage on the first attack you make each turn and on all saves. And 15 is Echoed Agony. Your Swift Strike can target a third creature within reach 4.
Hold on, let me check something.
Mm.
Okay, so you can't wear any armor, but based on the way of pain, I imagine you would be running at the enemies like a full-on masochist, ready to share pain.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the Way of Flame, at level 3, you get Exploding Soul. Once per round on your turn, you may suffer a wound. Whenever you gain a wound, deal Strength plus Wounds damage to any creatures you choose within 2 spaces, ignoring armor, and give them the Smoldering condition. At 7th, you get Blazing Speed. Gain +2 speed when using Windstep. After you cease movement with Windstep, enemies you pass through take Strength plus Dexterity fire damage. You may have Smoldering enemies take double, ending the condition. Then at level 11, you get Chain Reaction. So once a turn, when you crit, you may deal fire damage equal to your Strength plus Wounds to creatures of your choice within 2 spaces of your target. Repeat any number of times, targeting creatures not yet damaged by this effect within 2 spaces of any already damaged. So your critical hits do chain lightning, essentially. And level 15, Burning Soul just doubles any fire damage you deal.
Given my name, I might be biased, but this looks amazing.
Now, in addition, there's a few subclasses that are story-based. I'd say these are the kind of subclasses that would be in the GM's guide in a standard book.
Right.
But, like for the Oathsworn, we have the Oathbreaker.
She's eating she's just stole a heart that is hardcore as fuck.
Kalima! But you get Dark Benediction. You lose access to the following Radiant spells: True Strike, Heal, and Warding Bond, and instead get the necrotic spells Entice, Shadow Trap, and Dread Visage. Whenever you can choose a utility spell, you may choose a Radiant or Necrotic one. You also get, instead of Paragon of Virtue, you have Paragon of Power. You gain advantage on might checks when attempting to intimidate others. And you also get Aura of Suffering. You gain an aura with a reach of 4 and can interpose for an ally anywhere within your aura. However, your Radiant Judgment ability no longer triggers when attacked. Instead, it triggers whenever you could interpose but don't.
So basically, you either interpose or you use Radiant Judgment.
Mm-hmm. At level 3, you get We All Suffer. Gain +2 max wounds. When an ally within your aura would gain any wounds or fail a save, you may suffer the effect instead and trigger your Radiant Judgment ability. You also get Bring Me Your Pain. As a reaction, when a willing ally within your aura would drop to 0 HP, switch HP with them if your current HP is higher than their max HP. They gain temp HP equal to the difference, dropping to 0 HP and gaining the wound instead. With Oathbreaker, I'm definitely getting a very martyrdom feel for this one, so I can see why it's in the back. At level 7, you get Torment. Your Lay on Hands heals you for twice as much, and for others half as much. When you deal damage, you can expend healing power from Lay on Hands to increase the damage dealt by an amount equal spent, ignoring armor. And Exploit, at level 11, as a reaction, you can expend your Judgment die to force an enemy within your aura to interpose. A creature cannot interpose against its own attack. And at 15, you get Bloody Terror. Attacks against you gain 1 instance of disadvantage for each wound you have, up to 3. But then we have Spellblade for Commander, which the thing I'm noticing with these subclasses is that they're almost a mix between subclasses in 5e and the archetype system in Pathfinder. You know, the one that's more of a side grade system. But Spellblade first grants Arcane Command. Your focus on the arcane causes you to lose access to weapon mastery and combat tactics, but you now gain intelligence mana when you roll initiative. This mana is lost if unspent when combat ends. Whenever you could choose a combat tactic or weapon mastery, instead choose another commander's order or a tier 1 or lower spell from any spell school. Your commander's orders are also empowered with magical power. So, Face Me becomes Glimmering Decree. As a reaction, after an ally within 12 spaces is crit, that enemy takes Strength D8 radiant damage, ignoring armor, is pulled up to 4 spaces towards you, and is taunted by you until you drop to 0 HP. Move It becomes Born Upon the Wind. When you roll initiative, you may give yourself and an ally advantage on the roll, +3 speed, the ability to fly for 1 round, then you both can also move for free. Oh, that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Then Hold the Line becomes Crystalline Armor. Once per encounter as a reaction, when an ally drops to 0 HP, command them to continue the fight. Set their HP to 3 times your level. Additionally, they gain that many temp HP. Enemies who reduce this temp HP in melee have their speed halved until the end of their next turn. And Reposition becomes Flash Step. As an action/reaction on an ally's turn, command 1 ally to move up to their speed, or 2 allies half their speed, for free. You may exchange places with one of them. This definitely fits. I Can Do This All Day becomes Rising Phoenix. Once per encounter as a reaction, when you would drop to 0 HP, you may expend any number of hit dice, set your HP to the sum rolled instead, and deal that much fire damage to each enemy within 2 spaces of you. They gain the Smoldering condition. And Coordinated Strike becomes Withering Strike. Any attacks made this way deal additional necrotic damage equal to the max value of your combat die. An enemy deranged damage this way is considered undead for 1 round. And at level 3, you get Firebrand. Whenever you roll initiative, you may cast Enchant Weapon for free. Maybe upcast as normal by spending additional mana. You also get Deep Knowledge 1, where you can choose a tier 1 spell and any utility spell. And since it doesn't list a spell school, I'm assuming you can pick any spell, period, when it comes to this.
Nice.
At level 7, Deep Knowledge 2, you get a tier 2 or lower spell and any utility spell. And you have a similar thing for tier 3 at level 11 and tier 4 at level 15. This is probably one of the better Gish designs I've seen when it comes to the whole Magic Knight or Spellblade approach. But Shadowmancer gets Reaver. So you are cut off from... You get Hollow One, cut off from your patron. You can no longer cast Shadow Blast, and you no longer can cast tiered spells using Pilfered Power. However, you have stolen a secret from your patron, the Bone Scythe. Bone Scythe can be summoned as an action. It's a melee weapon that deals 2d12 slashing plus dexterity necrotic damage to each die. Uh, has a reach of 2. It shatters after you hit with it or when combat ends. Any invocations affecting Shadow Blast affect your Bone Scythe instead. And every 5 levels add 1 extra damage die.
Nice.
So at level 3, you get Shadow Exploit. You can sacrifice a Shadow minion to cast a spell.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And hello there, Montagor. Thank you for the raid. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Mildra. I am your one and only gaming monk. And we are going through the classes in Nimble 5e, the Heroes book. Currently, we're going through the story-specific subclasses. I hope FF14 treated you well. I know I'll be covering the tabletop version of that sometime in the future. But each subsequent spell you cast in this encounter costs 1 additional minion. You also get Martyr Spawn. Whenever you defend, you can sacrifice a Shadow minion to take no damage. At level 7, you get Grim Harrow. When you strike with your Bone Scythe, you may divide the dice as you choose amongst any number of adjacent targets within reach. And it's got reach too, so that's pretty nasty.
Yep.
And Reap, when your Bone Scythe crits or kills a creature, summon a Shadow minion for free. And at level 11, you get My Blood, My Power. You can take 1 wound to cast a tiered spell you know at the highest tier you have unlocked. And Otherworldly Might. You get advantage on concentration checks if you have any Shadow minions. And at level 15, look at me. I'm the patron now. You summon 2 Shadow minions for free when you roll initiative. It's a very nice touch. The Hunter can get Beastmaster. So for those who want to do the whole animal companion thing, though, I think comparing this to the animal companion you see for Beastmaster typically, there is no comparison.
No.
Because first off, you choose a small, medium, or large animal as your companion. Instead of your first 2 Thrill of the Hunt abilities, you can select Go for the Throat and Protect Me to use with your companion. Your companion's HP and movement are abstracted. It knows where it's most needed. And your companion can do anything the base animal can do. I do love that of all the animal companions they could have done for the art, I do love that they chose a dragon. And this has a different set because you're not getting set abilities each level, but more improving certain abilities. So with small companions, this could be a cat, a hawk, a raccoon. You get Keen Eyes. Once per encounter, you can mark a target for free. Twice per encounter at level 7. 3 times an encounter at level 11. You also get Protect Me. Once per encounter, whenever you defend, your companion distracts the attacker, causing the attack to miss, and you move half your speed away. You can do this twice per encounter at level 7. Then Go for the Throat. Once per encounter, costs 1 Thrill of the Hunt charge. Your companion attacks your quarry for 1d4 plus level damage for free, ignoring armor. Twice per encounter at level 11 and once per round. And 3 times per encounter at level 15, but once per round. Then we have, for medium companions, you can go with Ferocious. Whenever you or your companion crit your quarry, your companion attacks again for level damage, ignoring armor, and you can move 2 spaces for free. At level 7, 4 spaces. At level 15, 6 spaces. And Protect Me. When you defend, your companion may first attack that creature for 1d4 plus level and damage. Go for the Throat. Once per encounter, at the cost of 1 Thrill of the Hunt charge. As an action, your companion attacks your quarry for 1d8 plus 3 times level damage, ignoring armor. At level 11, you can do this twice an encounter. And Large Companion. So I suppose this isn't a full-on dragon, this is a drake. Which
Yeah.
you can only do medium and large companions for this at level 3. We get Alpha Protector. Damage from the first attack against you each round is halved. Protect Me. Once per encounter, after you gain a wound, your companion can whisk you away to safety up to 12 spaces. At level 7, you are whisked away before gaining the wound. And at level 15, twice per encounter. And their version of Go for the Throat is once per encounter, costs 2 Thrill of the Hunt charges and 2 actions. Your companion attacks your quarry for 1d12 plus 4 times level damage, ignoring armor. If that creature dies, you may deal half as much to another creature within reach 4. At level 11, twice per encounter. I know some people really didn't like the Beastmaster Ranger in 5e. I don't think they're going to have that problem with Beastmaster Hunter.
Yeah.
Especially since you can have a large animal companion instead of it just being another wolf.
Yeah, like it becomes really unique to each size.
Mm-hmm. And I will note that there are a few other classes that are planned when the Monsters and More package comes out, but I can't think of a single bad class that we saw in here.
Oh no, absolutely. I think that they are all unique. They did what they were too cowards to do for the playtest of 5 because each one of them has like their own set of abilities. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the basics, you don't have redundant levels. You always level up something important.
Mm-hmm.
And every single skill, like I don't see or I don't remember we saw anything that is extremely situational or redundant. All around, everything has a clear use.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly really good, and I think more or less you can see why some of the story-based subclasses might have been left more on the back burner, like we saw with the Oathbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it's just a clear improvement on everything.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. And yeah, yes, while there are only 2 subclasses each, that's not that much of a deal breaker here because they are very clearly designed and are basically answering the question, do you want to go more on the offense or do you want to go more on support? That seems to be the major theme with them.
Yeah. And sometimes, even if it is both subclasses are offense,
Mm-hmm.
they are very unique on what they offer. For example, what was it, the Shadowmancer?
Mm-hmm.
The difference that you get between a more quote unquote tactical approach with the ice spells and weaponizing temporary HP.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Pact of the Red Dragon, which is just set everything on fire.
Yep, including you.
Especially you.
Yep. And I know it's tempting to add more subclasses, but A problem that 5e has had is over reliance on adding more subclasses. So if I have to deal with a few less subclasses, I'm fine with that. Uh, the current Kickstarter is more about is going to add a few new things on the player side of thing, and a few new classes in general.
This
Some
is
of it was through stretch goals. Uh,
yeah.
the There's going to be a Revenant class, which is all about dying and then coming back. Uh, a thing about environmental traps. A thing for hirelings and mounts. Also, they're going to be adding Bastion rules. So this is where you can get your whole home base, your holdings, and the like. Um, a new class of monster called Titans, uh, which they describe as Titan monsters to run from and slay. Parentheses, good luck. Uh, it also unlocks solo rules, uh, a random monster generator, uh, black powder weapons, secret spells and techniques.
Yeah.
So if you want more esoteric rewards, a build a mimic chart. uh, the Apparently they plan on doing a quick reference repository called the Nimble Nomicon. So basically their own wiki. Uh, Kind of like how Mythcraft has its own free SRD. But I know some of the other stuff that's planned is thematic loot, um, an alternative to TPKs, uh, some quick reference companion cards, the Earth Spell School,
Oh, that sounds.
and
I think that with the
there are
way that most of the elemental classes work,
mhm,
like the schools work,
yep.
we are one step, just a single step away from just Avatar.
Um, that was already brought up when I did the interview. he he didn't even hide that. But there are three other classes that are in the works: Artificer, Scion, and Hexbinder. Artificer is your gadgeteer. Scion is about pushing it. Um, Hexbinder is akin to a witch archetype, and I already talked about Revenant. So, and I'd imagine each of those uh, is going to have two subclasses each. I think I think
Right.
they I think that is the plan.
Still, so far, I think that this book, like everything that is here of with heroes, it's a perfect example of sometimes less means more,
Mm-hmm.
because without counting the story related ones, each class has two subclasses, and the combination between the main class and the subclass already have far more utility than some classes in just standard 5e, even with their subclasses.
The fact that you have a set of in all but name feats that are tied to each, I'm perfectly fine with that. one of the problems that can happen when you have too many subclasses is that it ends up eating away at the core class's identity. And look at all the the fact that the kit ends up from the subclass ends up being more important than the main one.
Right.
Which is clear. It's clear that's not supposed to be the case here. The subclass is in addition to your regular kit, not the part of your regular kit. Since there was an argument that could be made with 5e that you don't really get your interesting bits of kit until you start getting your subclass. But and hey, as somebody who likes playing monk, the Zephyr certainly doesn't fall into the traps that often happen with the monk archetype. But with that said, that is going to do it for this week. Next time around, we will be covering the Game Master's Guide and then giving our final thoughts on Nimble. I have a feeling I think I know what those final thoughts are going to be. And tune in tomorrow because, for once, I'm the one being interviewed. The folks over at Eternity TTRPG will be talking with me about the Legend Edition project. Sorry, I got thrown off by something. And of course, there'll be a few other surprises I've got in the coming days. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.